You know, I always think that I have a lot less time than I actually do. I feel like I put like a 10-second buffer at the end of that video, and I feel like I'm always like pressured for time, but I just looked at the timer this time and I'm like, man, I have like a lot of time to actually click the button. Welcome everybody, welcome back to the Clam Club. How's it going? Welcome. How's things going?
Good to see you today. How are things with you on this lovely evening?
You do live with me.
Scrimmy one hearts.
Nice to see you too. Hi Flaming Gamer, Thor, Tivo, hello, Glowy, hello. Guns for Dads, hello. What an interesting name. Bomb Brigade, hi. Bomby, Marie, hello. Leon, hi. It's not going to be a conspiracy stream, but I want to talk about some stuff.
Oh, follower O faces.
Zeotter,
quite the
hi.
philosophical statement.
I wasn't for
But
outing.
as
Hi,
an
Dusty.
opossum with a PhD in astrophysics, I say, let's just focus on finding extraterrestrial life, shall we?
So true, so true.
Winks.
I'll talk about like the stream title and everything like that in a minute, but we'll see in a second. But hi Gizmo, hi Green Viper, hello. You love my wings, thank you. We got your rare. Kirby Master, thank you for the freaking 26 months in the Clam Club VIP lounge. Welcome back to the Clam
This
Club VIP
number
lounge.
isn't
The Wi-Fi's
real.
always clean.
Neither are aliens. Probably. Hopefully. Dab.
Probably. We're gonna talk about the thing everybody's been talking about. Yeah, well, it's not gonna be about Twitch stuff actually. I don't know about the Twitch news. There is some Twitch news to talk about, but that's not what we're gonna talk about today. Do I have a blowhigh? I do not have a blowhigh. The alien stuff is specifically. Hi EA Spoons, hello. Green Viper, hi, welcome. They're only temporary. For this stream, probably true. Yeah, well, it's not classical music. So so the reason Noodles didn't work in the title stream is because I put some music on that's like a little more spacey because we're talking about space stuff today. And so I wasn't sure if any of this music I'm going to use is DMCA. So I'm like, okay, well, I should just like edit it so that like the music doesn't go to the VOD or whatever. So we'll see how it goes.
Sincot blep, sincot blep, sincot blep.
Snappy guys, thank you for the 5 months of the Clam Club VIP lounge. Welcome back to the Clam Club VIP lounge. The Wi-Fi is always clean. Thank you so much. Oh no, the Cobalt mode already. Aw, frick. There we go. Cobalt mode. Now I guess I can stand closer to the screen. You know, if you could bring yourself to redeem Cobalt mode when I'm in the night world. I mean, like, it kind of takes away from the whole scene. But that's all right. I could be a Cobalt for a little bit. Yeah, I made it a redeem. It's kind of silly. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome guys. We'll talk about what we're going to get into in just a minute. I just want to say hi to everybody for a minute. For those of you who don't know, I don't usually normally stream on Thursdays. I'm streaming on Tuesday to this day, or Thursday this week, because I was really busy at work on Tuesday. I was actually really busy at work today. I only got out of work like an hour and a half ago, but I really wanted to get a stream in this week. So we're doing it today. We're doing it live. I'm really excited for the topic that we're talking about today. I haven't been doing a thing where we do like a topic of discussion on streams, but I've been thinking for a while that I think it could be really cool if like we pick a topic that we get to talk about each stream. I had tried this out a while ago, but I felt like I didn't have enough like concrete like things or topic or talking points. For the music, by the way, guys, if you guys like the music, let me know. This playlist that I'm running only has like 25 songs on it, so if it starts getting repetitive, let me know and we'll find something else. But most of the spacey music I could find was like a little bit too chill, and I was like, I don't know about that one today. I don't know, it's a little bit too much. It'll probably get derailed. Yeah, we'll probably get derailed at some point. Don't worry about it. But let me know if the music sucks or whatever. We'll see. This one's a little weird. I don't know about this, but yeah. Am I naturally shiny or is that from experience? The shiny is just like my hide parts. I don't know. To be honest, I've thought about toning down the shininess. It's not latex, it's just what it is.
Giggles mouths as front butts? I see, a quirky twist in verbiage.
What?
Let's discuss outer space enigmas instead.
Yeah, let's talk about black holes and stuff like that instead. You got a new color changing light bulb, hell yeah. It is a little Lisker brainy, yeah. So yeah, ice cream alien dragons, dude, I wish. So the reason I want to talk about this, and for those of you who don't know, for me, and I hope, by the way, before I get in, well, I don't know. Do I want to derail it by asking you guys about your week? I feel like we're going to get derailed real quick. What time is it? It's 4:47. I've got about 2.5 hours to stream. I don't know, maybe I should just talk about stuff. For those who don't know, I'm a biologist, and one of the things I have a very big passion about is astrobiology and life on other planets in general. I have always been obsessed with this topic. When I was a little kid, I used to go to the library and I would rent out every single book that they had on like aliens or ghosts or yetis or Sasquatch or like any sort of like paranormal in the sense that like anything that is like unknown stuff. I would always be really, really interested in that stuff because I've always been interested in anything that's like sort of unknowable, right? So I've always been interested in this topic for a while there. I thought about becoming an astrobiologist. Actually, I had contacted a school that had a master's degree program in astrobiology, and I was really interested in planetary formation and how life forms on other planets, and like a lot about like why life exists and stuff like that. So I've always been really fascinated by this topic, even though it scares me. I've always been really scared by the concept of aliens and ghosts and stuff like that, although the two are not the same. There's just this idea of something that like I don't know what it is or where it is or how it's gonna be here or whatever. That's always been like really like interesting to me, I guess is the best way I could put it. So it's like almost like cryptid knowledge kind of thing, yeah. And we'll get into I'll ask you guys your take on everything as we go, and we can talk about it. My plan is to talk a little bit about the news that's come out about this sort of stuff this week, that I think is interesting, but we'll talk about it a little bit, and we could talk about other stuff and stories of this type of stuff and how people feel about like how like probable it is or likely it is or whatever. And I'd really like to engage on the topic with you guys, because I feel like I've skimmed on the topic before in the past, but I've never really dedicated a whole stream to this topic, right? So I think that's the plan. That's what my plan is going to be today. Yeah. Do furry ghosts again? Great question. Why is it always furries with the master's degrees? I mean, all of furries are just like crazy smart people. Well, not all of them, but like a lot of furries are like crazy like engineers and PhDs and doctors and stuff like that. So yeah, it does happen a fair bit. Did you not know there's salt water on Mars? Yeah, there is water there. And I'll get into like Zio, what you're saying. I'll get into how I feel about this topic too once we talk about the current news, because one of the things that I'd like to touch on today is what I feel is like likely for like how likely life is on other planets. What I think like the reason for those things are, how I've gone through different evolutions of like my thought patterns on these things. How I feel about this might surprise you guys, but like recently I also came up with like an idea that I'm like, actually, that kind of scares me. So I've had some thoughts about this as well. Yeah, a lot of furries get PhDs and stuff like that. They're in tech and science, stuff like that. There's a lot of them. Furries are the internet. That's the other thing. Furries do like own the internet basically. Have I seen that speculative docu-series about the alien ecosystem? I don't think I have, but like we'll get to that. Yeah, if I don't get to your questions right away, save a lot of your comments until we're on that topic, and then we'll discuss it as we go. I haven't read a lot of chat just yet, but we have a lot to talk about, because we could talk about this topic for hours and hours and hours, I think, and everybody's got an opinion on it, so it's interesting. Protogen furries are engineers. That could be the case, yeah. All the talkies. Does Noodles know about topic? Noodles is an astrophysics, physicist, so I hope so. Speculative alien ecosystems, because it's basically sci-fi. Well, okay, that's true, Kirby Master, or Kirby, but like at the same time, a speculative ecosystem for aliens is a way of our ability to like do science in a way, because like if we don't theoretically come up with ideas for life, we've never seen any other versions of life, right? The only version of life that we know of is the one that we've seen on Earth. So it's like, there's nowhere for us to do science on that, right? There's no, except for coming up with stuff on our own, right? There's a possibility of alternate universes too. That's another thing you could talk about as well. It is like theoretical physics, but theoretical biology is still biology, you know what I mean? But yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the reason I wanted to
an underscore Amander, my yellow salamander pal, ponders considering your artistic and exploratory nature. May I suggest dabbling in amateur astronomy? Gaze upon the cosmos and be inspired.
He's going to say a lot of that today, I think. He's going to really suggest things about stars and stuff like that, because I told him we're talking about aliens today. If you discover aliens and they're not a race from Star Trek, you'll be pissed. Yeah. Or if they're not like a really hot dragon. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. But yeah, I did tell Noodles that this is what we're talking about today. Thank you, Flaming Gamer. Yeah, ask Noodles if he's an alien too. But the reason that I decided I wanted to talk about this week is that there's this whole thing that's going through the news, especially if you pay attention to a lot of stuff about UFOs and UAPs. And for those of you who don't know, the term UAP is unidentified aerial phenomenon. That is the government word for UFOs now. They don't call them UFOs anymore because they could be, they just generically call them phenomena, basically, to sort of like say, well, they could be weather, they could be whatever we want, right? Whatever, we don't know. And then there's also aliens. That's like the three things, like, or whatever, that we're going to talk about, right? So there is this big story in the news this week that's even reached like major, like CNN and whatever, like one of these larger news networks, of this guy that worked for the American military that is like an intelligence agent or something like that. And he came out to the media and said he's being a whistleblower supposedly, and he says that the American government knows about aliens, says that they have crashed, they are aware and have confirmed and have possession of crafts that are not human origin, supposedly, that come from off of Earth, apparently. And that more than that, he suggests that we've also got like alien bodies or something like that in the American military possession. Now, this sounds probably pretty familiar to a lot of people. Is it the Harvard guy? I don't know his credentials. I believe he was like an intelligence agent for like somewhere in the military or something like that. I don't know there's not a lot of basically, my understanding is that he's filed a whistleblower report. He sent the documents to Congress. And then he did an interview with a lot of different news agencies. I watched a little bit of the interview. It was about 5 minutes long, and just listened to what he had to say about it. I looked into the article a little bit. And if you want, you can look this up on the internet. You can find the interviews, the articles and stuff like that. It's a pretty popular piece of news. I don't know his name specifically. I could look it up. I probably should have before I started talking about this. But it is newer news. And so there's this whistleblower report that apparently he has told Congress that the American military is hiding all these things, that we are we're taking apart alien technology and using it in a military or whatever, right? So, and I would love to show you guys the video. If you want, you can pause and take a look at the video and watch it. A lot of people have tweeted it recently, and I think it's these sorts of things are sort of interesting to talk about, right? Like, because every time one of these comes out, and it's sort of what is this song? In the Face of Evil. It's a little intense. Yeah, we're gonna do alien stuff today. Wouldn't we have cooler stuff by now? I mean, like, yeah, we'll get into how I feel about this and all this kind of stuff, and how whether you choose to buy it. And I think a lot of people are gonna feel very differently about this. Some people are really gonna get into it and say like, oh, obviously this is nowhere evidence. So I think the thing that lays credence to this a little bit, obviously, is that it is verified that this guy is ex-military or whatever. He is like seems it's different for the Harvard guy. Yeah, this guy is from internal government agencies. He no longer works there. The gym you got a membership to is huge and has a heated pool. Hell yeah, that sounds awesome. K9 Alpha Wolf, welcome to the Clan Club. Thanks for swinging on by. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. But yeah, so I believe it is verified that he is an actual intelligence agent. He does have clearance, and that's, I guess, what leads some amount of credibility to the claim. It's one of those things where it does happen sometimes where somebody that is ex-military or whatever comes out and says these things. How I feel about this is that, like, I do think that the military and American and national governments probably do observe things that they don't know what they are. And they probably have a large collection of like different things that they're like, I don't know what this is, but we found it and it's here now or whatever. And the fact that he is an ex-intelligence agent sort of does lead credence to the idea that maybe there is something. Apparently Congress has acknowledged the whistleblower report. Those documents were sent to like Congress for review or whatever. But what makes me sketchy about this concept, I think, is in the interview, and if you watch the interviews, you'll see this a lot. He basically does a lot of like, oh, well, yeah, this is a thing. And they ask him like, okay, well, can we see the documents? He's like, oh, no, they're confidential. And he's like, oh, well, can you tell me more details? He's like, well, I've never seen this ships myself.
If you were wondering, and I searched up the news, the guy you're referring to is named David Grush.
David Grush, there you go. So he says a lot, and I agree, he seems a little off, but I don't want to discount the idea that he could have something to say, right? But he says a lot of like, I've never seen the thing. It's friends of a friend's information. I've seen some documentation. He says a lot of stuff like that. And he never gives us anything concrete. So I don't know. Is anything going to come of it? I don't know. We talk a lot about like disclosure from the government, a lot of it in this kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know. If it's confidential, he's already like broken the law by sharing some of this. Well, no, because there are whistleblower protection rules. Like if you're allowed to whistleblow against these things, but by talking to the news, maybe. I'm not sure what the actual rules are, but yeah. There don't seem to be any possible techno-signatures remotely near a star. Okay, that's something we can get into. I don't think that that's necessarily a problem. I think that there's a lot of reasons why we wouldn't detect techno-signatures that are near us. There's a lot of like reasons for that. That we would not have necessarily scanned enough of the sky. We haven't scanned for the right signatures. We haven't looked for the right things. The technology could be totally outside of our idea. Also, hi, Lysic. Hello, welcome in. You know what I mean? There's a lot of reasons for that, right? He's right, aliens definitely exist, but the fact that they're here or not is really up for debate. I don't know. Okay, I have thoughts on that as well. And I go back and forth on this concept, but yeah, if we're talking about this whistleblower report of what's happening with like UFOs or whatever, I think unless he can come up with more information, I'm not sure that I can buy the report, right? Unless suddenly the government comes out with like, yep, here it is, his whistle report is correct or whatever. I'm not buying this particular thing, right? You know what I mean? And people are really hot on it because it's a CIA agent or whatever. His name is David Grush or whatever. But he is giving me Ancient Aliens bro vibes. He's giving me a lot of that. With alien tech, it would be so revolutionary. I sort of agree, but I also sort of disagree. If I went to like somebody from like the year 1200 and gave them an iPhone, they would have no clue what to do with it, right? Like technology that's far enough advanced, if you got it in your hands, you would just look at it and be like, okay, like you just have no understanding of how you would even function with it, right? If he had any real verifiable proof on him, the government wouldn't disclose anything. And so I agree. My sort of opinion on this is like, okay, if you actually have anything, then why wouldn't you like not just whistleblow, but like go find a country that you can get haven with, like go to the Cayman Islands or whatever, and then just
question.
Like
aliens
leak it
could
to the
potentially exist in the vast universe, and if they possess advanced technology, maybe they could help us become our personas. Imagine the possibilities.
He could, exactly, it's so important. Imagine, if we had alien technology, we could become our personas. So important. Just because someone is wearing a doctor's coat, people trust them more. And I think that's sort of what's happening with the news, right?
Hey Sync, follower O Faces donated 50 bits and said, why again are we talking about aliens? You want to get probed? Cheer 50.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't hate it. Give a pilgrim a Sour Patch Kid and they'll drop dead. Give us alien tech, we'll likely blow ourselves up. Well, but that's the thing is like, again, like I said, if I gave an iPhone to like somebody from like the medieval ages, they would be like, great, you've given me a shiny rock. I have no idea what to do with this, right? No, that's okay, Kirby. If you have to go to bed, go to bed. Thanks for dropping by. He'd be going on about this stuff, and if he went low key and didn't go public, though, who knows how valid it is? And yeah, that's I just don't get it. Like if you really had something and you wanted to like tell people that you had this thing, then why would you not have like actually given real information? So I don't know that it's real. I don't know, but I will say, I after like talking about this, I want to get into like sort of my thoughts on how I feel about the potential of life on other planets, whether life is here, whether we've been visited, and all this kind of stuff, because I think a lot of these topics are really interesting, you know?
Hey Sync, follower O Faces donated 50 bits and said, take me to your leader. Cheer 50.
Oh. Because like, okay. So let's take what he said, like this guy is saying, right? Let's take let's take what he says at face value, right? Noodles was replaced a little bit. Let's talk about what's happening and the news that's happening now, and like let's take it at face value and discuss like the discussion, like the what he says on the face of its merits, right? So his music, the music was flooding me. His claims are basically that the American military has evidence of alien spacecrafts, has biological evidence of aliens, and furthermore is reverse engineering alien technology such that we have new technology, right? And yeah, Noodles became a skinwalker a little bit. And I guess, like, okay, if of those three things, the one that I could buy if I was really letting myself be imaginative is, I think, probably that maybe American governments have captured technology or crafts of some sort that they don't know who it belongs to, right? I think it's probable that that happens actually quite often, right? Because if they are actively engaging with even other militaries on Earth, and everybody's trying new experimental stuff, there's a good chance that they're recovering stuff that's somebody else's experimental crap, right? And they go like, oh, what the hell is this, right? That probably happens, right? If I have a hard time believing that that they would have like an alien spacecraft, because I think if they had an alien spacecraft, it would be, I think it would be more obvious. Although, you know, I don't know if people are maybe like bad at this kind of stuff, but whatever. You're FBI agent. Welcome to the Clam Club. Thanks for sitting on by. Welcome, welcome. Don't watch this stream. We're not talking about conspiracy theories. Don't worry. Question is, why don't they bring this out to the public if they want answers? And, well, yeah, I guess that's like sort of my point with the guy, is that like if he really wants to have disclosure, then he would have just had disclosure, right? Technical captures if we're being very lenient, but if there's biological stuff, it would have been massive news. And I agree. And also, I think biological stuff would have filtered into the like consciousness of like and as a biologist, I'm like, I have never seen any evidence that like suggests that we know anything about alien biology, even a little bit. And I think, like, for example, as evidence, the fact that we have the James Webb Space Telescope and that is a government agency and a government space telescope, but it's not using data to look around at different planets looking for specific signatures, because if we knew something about alien biology or even alien technology, that would guide our understanding and our perception and what to look at in space. But none of that is true, right? Why would we not be using the most modern telescope to use that, right? It doesn't make any sense. Aces, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Probe Me Daddy. Welcome to the Climb Club VIP. Angela Wi-Fi is always been. Hi, Arash. There was a video about the fuse technology that powered American anti-air munitions during World War I. It might have been World War II. It was so top secret that there's stories of the army sweeping entire battlegrounds in snow to search for lost munitions so that other governments couldn't recover and reverse engineer the fuse. Yeah, and I could see that. I do think that a lot of governments have like top secret technology that they want to keep. And I think that if other governments did find their way into that, like that stuff, it might be confusing because it is like a Black Ops project or whatever. You know what I mean? Thank you, Tobeans. Welcome. Reminder, there are ancient buildings that are too ahead of their time. Okay, well, we can talk about the ancient aliens theory at some point, but to get like, you know, to be perfectly frank, I think that most ancient aliens conspiracies are basically like hidden racism, but like, you know, I don't know. I think they're fun to think about as a concept for like, oh, were aliens here? Did they interact with humans? Things like that. It's a fun concept to think about, but generally speaking, they are usually just like a passive method of racism. I don't even think of that, but yeah, if we know what to look for, then we probably have found more signals. That's exactly it. Like, why would the government agency be like, what they built like a $10 trillion space telescope so that they could ghost us and pretend like we actually didn't find alien life? That doesn't make any sense, right? We're talking about basic Starbucks aliens, not ancient aliens. Well, yeah, a little bit of that. Sync, isn't there a thing where a massive percentage of the human DNA sequence is unused or... Well, yes, that's true. But I would not say that that is because of like some sort of like alien interference or whatever. That's true. There's exomes in every species. What you're talking about is called an exome. An intron or introme is the DNA that actually codes for DNA for proteins and stuff like that. But what we've discovered more and more is that exomes actually do have a function. They tend to be like separating, like we just put junk DNA between the sequences. And sometimes those exomes do turn into proteins, which down the road. But yeah, for the most part, those exomes, they probably serve a function. We just aren't aware of them. Those governments probably don't want anything getting their hands on their tech and crafts, because what's the point of finding out in the shadows? And the other thing, I think this is probably true too, is that probably governments allow like stories of UFOs to happen, I think a little bit because they want people to be shrouded in mystery. So when they see something weird, that they're like, oh, well, it's a UFO. It couldn't possibly be a military application because that would be weird, right? And I think a lot of people are primed to believe that weird stuff that they see is a UFO versus like actually like a military thing, that there's just like around a military base or whatever, right? And people don't think weird stuff or like imagine things instead of actually like the more reasonable thing to think is that it's just like a normal thing. Like it's probably just like a technology or whatever. Their presence is the function. Yeah, well, for exomes, yeah, that is true. Why is the government telling us what's in Area 51? Probably because it's not that interesting. Okay, to be clear, do you really think that the government would put all their biggest secrets in an area that you already know is there? There's no way that anything is there. You know that it's there. Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense, right? Hiding things in plain sight. Yeah, it could be just a rare red herring. Nobody knows. Yeah, they're making busty anime girls, exactly. It's just the last operating Chuck E. Cheese and the second Blockbuster. True. Or they'll make public perceive it as something else so they can get away with whatever they want. Yeah, there's like probably a lot of like that sort of stuff happening too. Like social psyops are a thing, right? Like they're intentionally spreading disinformation about things that you don't really know, right? Nikola Tesla made a powerful laser for the anti-aircraft laser. Possible, yeah. Area 51 has Street View. Yeah, exactly. It's Area 51 is in Alaska. What I will say, okay, to give you spoilers about my view of aliens, and I've talked about this on stream before. If I'm being honest, my probable I think personally that it's unlikely that aliens have ever visited Earth. And more than that, I think it's also unlikely that aliens exist in our local galaxy. I think that for practical purposes, it's fairly unlikely that aliens exist in anywhere that would be accessible in the next billions of years. And so functionally, I don't even know that they exist. Do they exist somewhere in the galaxy? Almost certainly. Probably somewhere. But is it for all practical purposes, if they don't exist in a way or space that is accessible within any of our local galaxy cluster, then does it matter? You know what I mean? Somewhere in the universe, probably. But if they're 100 billion light years away, what you know what I mean? Or 100 million light years away, what difference does it make? What if Area 51 is actually a place for genetic testing and testing limits of the human body? What if it's a place where they're actually doing genetic manipulation, and then we've seen skinwalkers and stuff like that, and that's what's actually happening, is that they're making skinwalkers at Area 51, and then people see these horrifying visages of these modified humans that are just failed experiments, and that's what we've perceived as aliens? That would be scary. There's got to be a movie about that or something like that. If aliens ever visit us, it would be all over Twitter and Reddit in minutes. Maybe. And I have a thought about that too, actually. I thought about something the other day that messed me up.
Finish reading my story or I'm going to send you another one.
Do it. Send me another one. Do it. I dare you. Okay, so one of the reasons, and this is part of what I thought about the other day. One of the reasons I sort of think that aliens probably don't exist, or at least have never visited Earth or whatever, is that one of the theories is that if aliens existed, it should be relatively simple to build, especially if they're only 100 or 200 years more advanced than us, to build a self-replicating probe that we could fire into space at non-relativistic speeds, and just it would self-replicate and propagate through the universe. And we've done the math on that to determine that if you did that, it would take about 1,000 years to be across the entire galaxy or something like that, right?
Nah, I'm just Noodles, your friendly chaotic opossum. Want to talk about real aliens, though? Grins.
What if Area 51 is a place where they're just turning people into actually anthropomorphs? Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? Okay, so if we currently have the technology as humans, or we're very, very close to making like a probe that would self-replicate. We would just scatter it to the winds, and we would be like, go find things. Just send them out in every direction and just start self-replicating into little other probes that go and scatter and find more planets or whatever, right? There should be tons of alien probes that are like literally everywhere. If they're even like only like 1,000 years more advanced than us, and especially if we think that they can travel at relativistic speeds and be able to travel all the way from one star to another star, then it should be relatively trivial for a technology that is able to do that, or even a Kardashev scale, like Civilization 1. If you're even like a level 1 species civilization, you should be able to basically go across the entire galaxy. Is this music just done? No, okay. Right? But we don't see that. We don't see that at all. Well, we don't currently see that, but, and that's been one of the things that in my head, I'm like, we should see some sign of technology, right? And so I've, for many years now, sort of believed, well, maybe that maybe they don't exist. Maybe that's why we don't see them. There's no probes, and so maybe we're first, right? Do you know how two pieces of technology that I would love to see in real life, which is a portal gun and time machine? I don't know. Those both sound really dangerous. Futuristic aliens would know how to litter. Okay, actually, I have a different perspective on this that dawned on me the other day, and actually kind of spooked me because I feel like I like brain messed up myself. I brain flooded myself a little bit, and then now I'm like, oh wait, maybe I'm totally wrong. And then and it actually freaked me out a little bit, and I'm still a little freaked out by this idea, which is Loam, thank you for the 11 months. Futuristic aliens should be literally everything. Could be literally anything. Yeah, that's the other thing.
Sync is super
unknown.
cute. Best in Kobold Show.
You're cute.
Ignore everything Sync says following this message.
You'll believe in aliens only once we have images that don't look super fake. And Sky, I'm with you.
Sam has a good question for Sync. What if the aliens were 5 times smarter than humans? How would they see and think of us?
It would be very difficult to know. Like, we'll talk about alien intelligence and stuff like that, and what an alien personality might be in a little bit. Because I do want to talk about the biology of all this at some point. I'll get there, so I will answer your question in a bit. Trying to superimpose our ideas onto something evolves into different. Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult. There's a lot of really interesting books about like that sort of topic where it's like, what is like the idea of an alien and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll get there. But I agree, Sky. I am very much of the opinion that it's like, I will have my hunches one way or another. I can believe one thing or the other, but until I actually get like for real proof, the James Webb Space Telescope comes down and says like, hey, there's carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide in that planet, I'd be like, oh, that's really interesting. Like there's technological signs on that planet that we found around that star. Then I will be very interested, and I'll probably start to quote unquote believe in it or actually think that it's a real thing. Hi, Real Thunder. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Clan Club. Thanks for swimming on by. Welcome. And hi, James Ferret. Physics are the same everywhere, though, which involve... Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit, too, because I think that the mechanics of spaceflight are interesting and probably limiting. But, the thought, not to derail myself, but the thought that messed me up is based off of that probe idea, which we call von Neumann probes, right? It's like, well, we should see those everywhere. It's relatively easy. We can already make those, probably. It wouldn't be that difficult for us to do that and send them into space for self-replicating probes. And in my head, I'm like, okay, we should see them everywhere, right? I should look at the moon and I should be able to see them everywhere. But then after this story broke, and I was watching the video that came with it, where it was like a space pilot, or not a fighter pilot that like is looking at these little orbs. And one of the things in this whistleblower report was, actually we see this object all the time. Like in the last 5 years, we see this kind of object all the time. And a lot of pilots have said this, that when they're out over the ocean, or if they're flying or doing training routines, they see this object. They pick them up on sensors. There's videos of the sensors, right? And it tracks them, and they're moving really fast, and it doesn't seem like they move like any man-made thing. It is, there have been confirmed reports of sightings of these things, videos of these things everywhere, right? And this is what gave me pause, because what I thought about then is I was like, well, you know, if I was gonna make those probes, I would make them really small, right? I wouldn't want them to be very complex. I'd make them pretty tiny because I don't want them to have a lot of weight. They're gonna have to go off into space. It takes a lot of energy to propel a large object, right? So how would I design that object? Well, I'd probably make it really small. Because it's so small, it would never show up on radar. It would never show up on anything. If you put it in the atmosphere, 10,000 feet above me, to your naked eye, you would literally never see it. If it was soccer ball sized, or even better, like if depending on how good you are at miniaturization, you could make something softball sized, like the size of your hand, right? And the truth is, if you were advanced enough to start sending stuff to other planets, that's the size and scale of a probe that you'd make. And then I realized, you know, if you were trying to find something like that in space, or even just looking up in the sky and finding it, you would never see it. And it's only recently that we probably would have ever come up with the technology to be able to see and track those things in the air, right? Because only recently we've been able to come up with like cameras that can track something like that. It's only recently that people have been able to like actually get video of these things because they're moving, like potentially, maybe, if this is a thing, they'd start moving so fast, right? Because like you'd never see it. You would literally never, and if you ever saw anything, you might see it zip across and you'd be like, oh, maybe my brain was just malfunctioning. Maybe it was a bird. I have no idea, right? You'd never know. Daltonizer, welcome to the Clam Club. Thanks for coming on by. And so then I realized, I'm like, you know, if that existed, if hypothetically, if there were probes zipping around the atmosphere of Earth, right? Say there was only 20 or 30 of them in the entire planet, but they were zipping around Earth at 1,000 miles an hour or whatever, and they were just imaging the surface, collecting data, and then taking off and bringing that stuff back, right? They could have been here for thousands of years. These little probes could have been in our atmosphere for thousands of years. And we would literally never know, right? And so, you know, to be honest, my thought then, because for a long time I have been like, there's no chance, zero chance. We've never seen anything. We have our eye on the space. There's no chance that there's aliens here. There's no alien technology here. There's literally zero chance. But if I was a person designing those probes, I would program them such that if they detected any sign of life, to start replicating on that surface and scanning information for as long as possible, right? I would have it persistently doing it, and I would have it looking for those specific things, right? War of the World situation, they planted their tech here 5,000 years ago. That's what I'm saying, is that there's a chance there that they could have been here for thousands of years. And how would you know? You would never know. The only time at which you would know is like a time like today where we are just now starting to get the technology to even be able to view them. And most of us are going to look at those things and be like, okay, so what, right? So yeah, I'm kind of saying there's a chance.
If aliens exist, they might come in all shapes and sizes. Some could be huggable cuties, while others might prefer maintaining personal space. Let's hope for cute ones.
Let's hope for cute ones. So this idea really has messed with like my understanding or my feeling about how or if aliens would live on Earth or have been here. And to be clear, I still sort of think that actual aliens, alien life forms probably have never been here. But I am kind of leaning towards there is maybe a pretty good chance that the probes actually do exist and we just don't know how to detect them. That would make sense. Any alien colonies or societies would be building small probes so as not to waste their resources. Exactly, and it wouldn't be like a high impact thing to do. If they were looking for life, they would have completed their mission and probably already be gone. That's also possible, but they also could be surveilling us, right? Like why wouldn't they? If they just had like little golf ball sized probes zipping around in the atmosphere looking at us, just looking at us, sending up information, figuring out how they call these things. And maybe here's another scary thing. Maybe they're watching us because they want to know if we're going to become a threat. Maybe they're got little probes in our sky because they're like, hey, we detected a civilization, okay? Well, keep an eye on them. We need to know if they're going to be a threat to us because our alien empire, we don't want them to mess with us. Right? That's scary. That's really scary to think about. Imagine if an alien were like us, but they can corrupt and be dangerous. That would be terrifying. You feel like a huge stick in the mud for this topic? The actual chance of aliens is so wildly low. Well, yes, I agree, Sky, but I also agree that, okay, here's the hypothesis, right? I think that life is probably actually pretty common, regular life, not intelligent life. But if intelligent life is even one in like 50,000 planets, then in our galaxy, at least one other civilization should exist. And if one other civilization exists and it's even 500 years earlier than ours, then there's probably probes in our sky. You know what I mean? Furry portal gun artwork? You're not planning on having nightmares right now? It's kind of existentially terrifying, right? Humans are already a threat in many ways, but not to aliens with advanced technology, right? Humans would just leave the planet if it had life. I don't see why aliens would leave us alone. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
if we found a planet with life, we'd be monitoring forever.
Aweens all mysterious beings fum out to space. Maybe ado below like seaweed USOO. Such intrigue.
Would it be really practical to beam information home for thousands or millions of years? But why wouldn't it be? If you were the kind of technology that like had so much technology, like civilization that had so much technology you could just send probes to other planets, why would it not be possible to just give that little probe a certain amount of, like, you could just collect energy from like water vapor or the sun or whatever to keep your thing going? Or maybe you've got like little miniaturized fusion, like who knows, right? The fact that we exist, yeah, exactly. What Dusty is saying, the fact that we exist basically means that there has to be aliens somewhere else, right? Maybe there's a whole civilization so small it's living on air molecules. That seems pretty unlikely. I don't know about that. Maybe at nighttime the stars are like little probes, but we don't know that all around the world. That's the zoo hypothesis. So we could live in like a zoo, basically. Like imagine if like the whole world was like an alien-seeded zoo where like everything around us is sort of like manipulated to make us think one thing, but it's actually not true. I don't buy that personally, but it's an interesting concept. Life is common out there. It's just that space is so massive that finding them or getting them there is so hard. Yeah, and I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that like we could talk about that too. Space travel, how likely? I don't know how likely relativistic space travel is. I don't know if it's possible, but I know we literally do know that we can travel through space at non-relativistic speeds, right? And even if we traveled through space at the speeds we're capable of, within like 1,000 years, we can send probes to every planet in our local cluster. Those probes could be powered by the sun or anything long-lasting, exactly. Or just background irradiation. Why would you want to have a probe that's intended to run longer than your civilization will exist? Why not? I mean, you could also just program them to have self-termination dates, right? It would be frustrating if they exist because we probably wouldn't be able to see them in our lifetimes if we found evidence. That's not necessarily true. We're kind of like in an interesting timeline where like we live in interesting times, mostly because I think that we are the most likely generation to find out if this is actually true. It's basically not possible. Sky, what do you mean by it's not possible? What specifically is not possible? How do we know? And M. Shago, what are you talking about? Well, how do we know? Perhaps alien exist and do not know of us. If you guys are typing in chat, like chat is moving so fast, you have to include information of like what I talked about, or I'm gonna forget what I said. But after seeing us invent nuclear bombs, they choose to avoid us. I don't think they're gonna choose to avoid us, because if anybody can travel like here from another planet, we're not a threat to them. At least not unless there's some technology out there that like could disrupt space-time that we just don't know. Okay, any technology that is sufficiently advanced is described by magic. With working theories of quantum physics, it would be possible for us to fold space up using a point of concentrated mass. That's in theory true, but we don't know if that's even possible, right? We don't even know if it's even possible to do that. Like that, the amount of energy required to do something like that would be wild. This music kind of does go crazy. It's kind of nuts. Oh, long-range space travel? Yeah, I don't know if that's possible. I think traveling through space at relativistic speeds, or on non-relativistic speeds, like just like at the current speeds that we know how to do. I mean, we sent the Voyager probe all the way out there, right? That's like a thing that we can do. How do we know that we can travel in space in non-relativistic? I mean, like, we travel through space. Unless I'm getting non-relativistic and relativistic backwards, right? Non-relativistic. Relativistic meaning close to the speed of light. Non-relativistic meaning just, like, literally driving a car, right? Like, we can launch things to space already. We've sent things outside of our solar system, right? Those things are just things that we can do. And if we can do that, then anybody could do that. Relativity exists and stuff, but we are talking about energy on a level of black hole to even have a slight effect. Creating a system to allow space travel using something like that magnitude isn't possible. Well, we don't know that that's true. Maybe, but, you know, 100 years ago, we also said that physics was solved and there was no reason to take physics classes anymore. So, you know, if humans sent people to the moon in 69, why can't we send a person to Mars now? Because people stopped being curious, basically. I doubt they'd avoid us. If aliens found us, they'd keep back till they're certain we're a threat or not. And I think we would do the same thing, right, Flaming Gamer? Like, if we were to find an alien civilization, probably we would be tenuous about it until we knew whether it was like a risk to contact them or say anything, right? Kinetic kill vehicles are your favorite sci-fi weapon? Like, where you like send like a probe at relativistic speeds to crash into a planet and destroy it? Those are terrifying. People have been clever wrong before. We used to think that heliocentrism was BS. Yeah, exactly. Like, we can be smart, but also totally wrong about different things in science. Do you think that FTL is possible? We know that it is theoretically possible. We don't know that it's practically possible. Drop a few nukes behind your spaceship and you can hit a significant fraction of the speed of light. Yes, but not if you're a human. Then you just die. Yeah, but like, it's not impossible. We just don't know if it's like physically possible to get that amount of science or physics or energy or whatever. You know what I mean? Collecting data and seeing how we are. And if this probe idea is true, then that's I imagine what they'd be doing. They're just like watching us, right? Figuring out what's going on. Contacting a civilization of unknown technology and society would be terrifying, Pandora's box. I agree, and my personal opinion is that we should be listening, but never sending. We should be listening as much as possible, but literally sending as few signals back into space as possible, because that is a terrifying reality if we just do that. People underestimate the size of space. To some extent, yes, Sky, but what I'm talking about isn't necessarily like that far-fetched. You know, the galaxy is what, 10,000 light years across? So like, you know, if you sent things at like I said, non-relativistic speeds, even like 100,000 miles an hour or something like that, and you sent it to like another star or whatever, and you got there even within like 10,000 years or something like that, which is not a lot of time, all galactically speaking, then there should be, in theory, probes. There is plenty of time to do that. You could potentially have probes on every planet. And if you shrink that to like the local 1,000 light years of our galaxy, we should see it, right? You hope you get to die on Mars? I don't know if I want to die on Mars. I'm also missing the fact that if a civilization that advanced exists and found a material-rich planet like ours, we probably wouldn't exist anymore. But Sky, you're supposing that if a species was that advanced, why would they care about our resources? Why would water is everywhere? There's literally better mineral deposits in asteroids than there is on Earth that are easier to access. Like, if you want hydrogen, you could just go get it from a star. If you want water, you could get it from any ice source in any asteroid. When you say material rich, the only material rich, quote unquote, that we have is that our planet is habitable to life that evolved here. That's it. That's the only thing that makes Earth special. It's not actually the resources that we have here, because our resources are meaningless. The resources that are here are literally in abundance anywhere.
Right away.
Pulling from a star is easy. I mean, if you can travel at like light speed to here, I would guess you probably know how to do that. But why don't we make, I mean, like, for example, the moon is covered in helium, right? Why don't we make robots to deep rock galactic our way to harvest asteroids? I mean, that is in the plans. It is something that people want to do. Zazer Tyleb, welcome to the Clan Club. Thanks for coming on by. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. How long since we had this WoW signal? Well, I believe the WoW signal is actually explained as like a satellite dish that passed over top of the thing. Do you know whenever we have a fog, maybe aliens make that with their UFOs so they can get around? That's unlikely. I'm not gonna blame weather on things. I think that's a little far-fetched. Yeah, the WoW signal was like in 2002 or something like that. NASA was going to build a huge rocket powered by nuclear propulsion. I think there's better ways to do things. I think that's one of the less reliable ways that we could get to space. Have I heard of Point Nemo? I have not. There's some working theories based on specular analysis of some planet light patterns. And yeah, I don't think the WoW signal was anything. I think the WoW signal was probably just a satellite that was or a microwave oven or something. Who knows? Or we could actually just clone people to do it, or have, well, yeah, we could do that too. But like, we've never really tried to do any of those things, right? My personal view as a biologist, as somebody interesting in astrobiology, is that I think that like life is just chemistry. I mean, I think that life is just chemistry. Chemistry is pretty much is everywhere because it's physics, right? So anywhere with suitable enough like material is going to undergo chemistry. I think that life is chemical pathways trying to preserve themselves through like maintaining the best pathway through to entropy, right? And Sky, I'm actually sort of with you as well. I think that the chances of like actual life on Earth is very unlikely. I don't think that aliens are here. I don't think aliens are here. I don't think aliens have ever been here, but I think there's a chance that their technology could be here. I think that if I was going to like, I can make myself believe that their technology could get here. But like, as far as like alien life, I don't think there's any chance of that. Basically, like the chance of that is so infinitesimally small that it's like, because I'm not even sure that, to be clear, I'm not sure that biology or biological life forms can travel through space. And maybe we'll get to that in a second too, because I actually don't think that's possible. I think we can send technology through space at rapid speeds. I don't think people will ever go to space in deep space. Right? So that's my thing. But as far as like life goes, life I think is just chemistry trying to keep itself alive. I think there's a pathway through entropy that like life passes through, and that's what life is. Life is like the catalyst that brings the universe to a lower entropy state, right? Or higher entropy state, whatever, the greater delta G, right? And so to that end, I think that because of that, we should find at least some evidence of life, if we qualify life as chemical pathways preserving themselves or equilibrium states preserving themselves. We should find that everywhere, essentially, right? Now, complex life is probably going to be much more rare, but based off of that, I think that there's a good chance that we will find some amount of life literally everywhere. You know? Alien intelligence question? What's the question? Your story is in a Google Doc. Can you add it to you with your business email? Yeah, you can send it to me. That's fine. I actually have your story. It's in my inbox somewhere. I just haven't read it. Is it relevant to this? Is that the idea? A Dyson sphere is a type 2 because you can harvest all the energy of a star, right? If you were type 2, that would be wild. The other story. Are humans on the ISS technically extraterrestrial intelligence? Well, no, because they're not from another planet. They're from our planet. I imagine we could possibly see a Type 2 civilization where aliens harness their sun's power and use that for their tech to prosper. It's possible, but only if, like, well, that's the other thing. We would have to know something about, like, the desires of these other other aliens, right? We don't know that any of these other aliens even want to go to space. That's the other thing, right? We don't know what their intentions are. Like, just because we want to go to space, and I would argue that in many cases, our species doesn't give a crap about space either, right? So is it possible that we're just like, it's too hard to go to space, frick that. We just live on our planet and deal with it. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's a great filter thing. And that's really ultimately what we're talking about. Is it a filter, or is it that or it's just not possible, or whatever? We don't know, right? I love thinking about this stuff. It's so important to me. There was some news story about us finding more Goldilocks planets. Yeah, that's what JWST is working on. That's like the whole point of JWST. And I think that's interesting. I think it's possible that we find something. I honestly thought we'd have more data from JWST by now, and I'm a little disappointed that TRAPPIST data hasn't come out a little faster. How have we never nerded out about this before? We've never talked about it before. You never asked me. Do you think aliens might refrain from building a Dyson sphere to avoid drawing attention to themselves? No. I think that a Dyson sphere is probably just too, it's probably too much. I don't know if there's a reason for it. It's probably just like, you wouldn't build a Dyson sphere because it's such a mega project that it's like, why are we doing this, right? Every time you talk about people like this, they get existentially terrified. I think that there's a lot, like if you are subject to existential terror, talking about aliens is like one of the easiest ways to get freaked out. I get freaked out about this quite a bit. Like when I talked about like, you know what? If there were probes on Earth, I would never know. I would never be able to tell. So therefore, there's no reasonable chance that there can't be. Just like by logic. And then I was like, oh no, wait, what if the aliens are watching us? And then that freaked me out. I'm like, oh no. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Zio, I've heard of the Dark Forest theory. There's actually a great novel based on the Dark Forest. It's a Chinese novel, incredible. It's not the Wandering Earth, but I think it's called The Dark Forest by Xixing Liu. Incredible. It's about this, where it's like, hey, all these aliens, the reason we don't see them is because they're smart enough to keep their heads down. And it's like what I talked about. Like, are they monitoring us to see if they're a threat? And if they detect that we're a threat, they just kill us? You know, for those who don't know, the Dark Forest theory is basically like, if you're in the woods and you suddenly don't hear any animals, the reason you don't hear the animals is because they all know there's a predator around, but you're the one that doesn't know, right? So when you're one of the survival strategies, if you're in the forest, is to not talk or not make noise, because like a super predator could come get you. And that could be true of the universe as well, right? Because if the universe has a super predator, then it pays to not reveal yourself, right? Big Brother is watching. A Dyson sphere is such a massive undertaking. A dome around a star would be impractical. I agree. I think rings would be more probable, or just panels, like large solar panels or something like that in space. That would make a lot more sense. AI is probably directly more threatening than aliens. In a way, it could be. It could be. It definitely could be. I sort of don't believe that AI is like a real threat, but that can be very hard to absorb in the age of information, with how our brains like to accept irrefutable fact or comfort. A lot of people, like, it makes people uncomfortable to think about this kind of stuff. Would be a drain resources for aliens, so they wouldn't do that. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You'd have to like drain like entire solar systems of resources just to build a Dyson sphere. It doesn't make sense. Oh, your story is about the Dark Forest theory. Ooh, I'm actually more interested now. That's scary. Make the most of the home system rather than dealing with the hassle. The Dark Forest theory is well explored in the three body. Yeah, it's the three body problem. Yeah, great novel series. Incredible. So good. Yeah, what if there wasn't a Galactus? What if aliens have a modern technology device built inside their UFO for time travel? What? I mean, maybe. Like, these things, it's like fun to think about all these things, but like functionally, like I said, I think my opinion is just that like it's probably pretty unlikely. A lot of these advanced technologies, and we can get into this maybe next, is that like I think that, and why I think that biological entities can't or probably can't travel at like relativistic speeds or lead the solar system. I think there's reasons for that stuff. You're most confused person to the planet? What about in the universe? What if the only reason we haven't found aliens is because we're hesitant to make a sound, though? Maybe. Yeah, that could be true, too, but I'll tell you that we are making lots of noise. We have been making a lot of noise for a long time. You disagree with the notion that all of them would resort to preemptive genocide. And I agree. The idea or personality of aliens is basically unknowable. I'm not sure that it's possible to know what the intentions of an alien are, because we can only think about things from our human perspective. You do not think that the theory of AI would at any point get rid of people is... I also agree. I don't think the AI, what it would be. I missed your message again. I'm trying my best. No, I read it. I read that message. I'm slowly getting to things as I go. I think that being a little presumptive aliens inherently being hostile. I agree. I'm not sure that it's like necessary that aliens would be hostile. They would just as likely be curious or whatever. And there might be not even a reason for anything like that. And yeah, Jay the Gamer, that's like our whole thing today. We're going to be talking about aliens, Dark Forest, Fermi Paradox, and Dyson spheres. That's everything we're talking about today. We're talking about aliens. What's a Dyson sphere? It's a big sphere that you build around a star to try to gather all the energy of a star and manipulate all the energy that would come out of the star. It's like it's a theoretical
a white,
concept.
As a lil attempt at ASCII art, use a simple alien FWEND. Oh, ain't they cute? Giggles.
So cute, so cute. Dark forest theory could be likely, but we've made so much noise. Why wouldn't they come after us? I agree. I sort of feel the same way. I'm not so scared of the dark forest theory that bad. My big ears remind you of Donkey from Shrek. What if it's the opposite, you know, when you see a wild predator, one of those things is to be as big and loud as possible? Could be all the noise we're making is making them hesitant. It's possible too. Like, yeah, we can go on and on with those theories. I think there's like a lot of like reasonable theories. There's like 20 different resolutions to the Fermi paradox. We don't know. All right, well, I'll see you later, toe beans. Bye. Mars is a ping of 364,000 millisecond. True. The reason you're confused, and this goes to you too, is because my brain is dying from trying to hit. Oh, yeah, well, that's normal for me too. I get very ADHD burned out or whatever. With our current understanding of electromagnetics, this is true. Yeah. I don't know. I want to talk a little bit about the physics and the idea of like what space travel is possible at some point here, because I think that lends into like my ideas and how I feel about human travel, aliens on Earth or whatever. We could talk a little bit about ancient aliens and stuff like that too, and why I think it's nonsense. Maybe as we go a little deeper here. Dyson spheres are pretty impractical compared to swarms because they are rigid. Oh yeah, I agree. Swarms would make a lot more sense, but I think swarms would also be more noticeable. We thought we found a Dyson sphere when we saw that flickering, but we found out that it was actually just a star that was like spinning around another star or something like that. And we were like, oh, okay, it's actually just like a neutron star or something. Large solar panels would be more likely. And that's how I feel too. I think a large solar panel just makes a lot more sense. However, much like the back when we discovered the form of radiation we are not familiar with, we have no idea how electromagnetic radiation even propagates. There's a lot of things about physics that we just don't understand at all. Missed your message? I mean, I'm trying to read messages as best as I can. Area 51 has their own UFO. You think it was TR-74. I'm not aware of that necessarily. I don't know a lot of the specifics here. Reading it alone and the lights off at 3 a.m. Oh no. If you were an alien and you come to another species and be like, hey, come talk to us like some maniac. Yeah, you'd give them you're like walking down the street and you give them like you're just like, well, okay, never mind. Yeah, I think it was a pulsar, yeah. Is like we don't contact those Sentinel Islands we think we're so primitive, or they're trying to preserve our culture by not interacting with it and allowing us to develop on our own. There's always like the idea of a prime directive too. And I'll see you later, Jay the Gamer. Thanks for dropping by. What do I think of that cigar-shaped asteroid that came to the solar system? I think that was probably just, there's no evidence of ever that being like an alien spacecraft, and I think it's a little unlikely that it would be. But, again, if you were to be an alien and you're like, I'm just gonna send something over there, and you could like piggyback it on like a weird asteroid, why not do that, right? If you knew the math, why not? The Star Trek theory is possible, but kind of weird because everyone is following it. I don't think it's very probable that we have like weird, like there's like a theory that all of the sci-fi shows that we have are just like disclosure about like the actual way that like space history goes or whatever. I don't think any of that's true. I think it's all just sci-fi. What if they interacted, but most of us aren't aware or don't remember? Why would that make any sense, though? What, do you think they neuralized us like Men in Black? What are we talking about? We're talking about aliens. We're talking about the Fermi paradox. We're talking about the prospect of life on other planets. We're talking about government disclosure. Anything you can think of, really. What I'm trying to talk about is like a little bit about the scientific side of things, not necessarily the conspiracy side of things but more how I feel maybe the world actually is, more than I think that the theory are. Although I will say, I do love a good conspiracy about aliens. I think that's the funnest thing. I think it's silly. I love to think about them, but I basically don't believe in any of them. Maybe how weather or functions on the solar system could be thrown off course if the sun's energy was being drained. That's also probably true, yeah. But at that point, they probably wouldn't live on the planet. They probably just dismantle the planet. It could be one alien civilization shielding us from others. That's another thing that could be true, yeah. We could have a situation where two alien species are fighting over us, right? That's totally possible. What if it's literally just bunnies and they hop around the stars. I mean, maybe. Which public figure is most likely to be an alien? Like Gary Busey. The TR-3B airplane is part of the USAF secret aerospace program. Ah. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of those, though. I think that a lot of alien spacecraft sightings are probably just secret military projects that we just don't know about. Yeah, also Zuckerberg. Definitely Zuckerberg, too. Hopefully aliens are not real. They're just not, and they're not watching us. I mean, I don't know. I hope aliens are real. I hope aliens do exist. I just hope that they're not, like, trying to kill us, because I like living, you know? This is a neurodivergent thing? What do you mean? Like the thing where I get excited about something and I start skipping over my sentences and stuff? Yeah. That's because I'm getting turbo sidetracked by my own thoughts. Prometheus scenario. Life developed on Earth because an alien spaceship craft crashed on Earth 50 million years ago or whatever. So that's panspermia. I personally don't believe in panspermia. I think if panspermia were a real theory, we would see life on many more locations that's like more active. I think it's a little far-fetched. It's certainly possible, but I don't think it's likely, personally. You missed fun alien conspiracy theories. Now conspiracy theories are so harmful. I agree. Like, actually, I think it was Obama that was doing an interview on Jimmy Kimmel, with Jimmy Kimmel, obviously. And he was like, hey, do you remember when conspiracy theories were about aliens and ghosts and stuff? And now they're just about, like, nasty political theories. It's like, what happened, man? What happened? You want aliens to turn me into a giant robot dragon? Dude, same. Zuckerberg is a fluke. He's here to distract us from the real alien people. Oh, no. The World War II Germans had their own UFO. See, those are fun conspiracies where it's like, oh, yeah, the Germans were contacted by aliens and, like, they used that technology to make fighter jets and stuff like that. That's wild, and I love that dumb crap. It's so stupid. Zuckerberg uses the NVIDIA eye thing to make us think that he doesn't blink horizontally. He's neuralizing us all. Oh no. Yeah, like the Nazi moon base or whatever. It's crazy stuff. That's just wild. But like, okay, let's get back to the point here. One of the things I think I wanted to talk about, and I think we went through a little bit, is like the technology of space travel to other planets. And I think this is an interesting topic as well, and sort of lends to sort of the thought patterns of like why I think the aliens weren't here. I think it's interesting. Do you think if the Germans had alien tech, World War II would have gone very different? Yeah, well, for the same reason why I don't think we have alien tech now. By the way, bye, Tobians. Have a good night. See you later. As far as like traveling to other planets or whatever, I am very hesitant about the idea of like whether or not our species is ever going to be capable of moving to other planets or changing, or maybe we can make it to Mars. We can make it within our solar system, right? Because we can make it to our like places in our solar system at like, you know, 50, 100,000 miles an hour, whatever. In our lifetimes, it'll take like a few years maybe to get like out to like Pluto or whatever, right? But we can get there. But to me, I'm not so sure that it is possible. Like when people are like, oh, we could travel at the speed of light to other planets. And if we could figure that out, then we could like, you know, Star Trek our way to other solar systems and stuff like that. And I think the thing that we will find that makes that impossible are two things. One, how do you find that much energy to be able to bend space around you so that you can travel at that, like, faster than light speeds? But also, I think that if you're traveling at 99.9% of the speed of light, or 10 times the speed of light or whatever, like in Star Trek or whatever it is, if that was the case, I feel like you'd hit like a little space dust, like you'd hit like one atom. Your spaceship would collide with a single atom, and your spaceship would come apart. You know what I mean? There's a certain frequency in the sound of our atmosphere that without makes people anxious and paranoid. So to colonize other planets, we probably have to recreate that. Oh wow. Yeah, like how do you, like, you're saying, oh, well, we need warp shields. What the frick is a warp shield? What does that even mean? It doesn't make any sense. Like your space, where you'd just be like, poof, you would travel at like 99.9% of the speed of light and you just explode. Instantly, you would explode. Like you'd press go on your engine and you'd be like, oh, I hit a single molecule in space. Guess I'm dead. Like, you know what I mean? And so due to that, or like accelerating people, like if you accelerate people, they're all like in Star Trek, they're like, the inertial dampeners. And so somehow like we're gonna just make inertia, which is a force of the universe, just not work. The craft would not be moving relative to the point of mass it creates. The space would be shifting around it. The missile knows where it is because it knows where it is not. But like that's just all theory, right? Shields in general aren't really a thing that we know how to do. Yeah, exactly. So when we say like these plasma shields or whatever that we see in like sci-fi, those are all just nothing, right? Like we don't know how to do anything like that. We don't even know how to theoretically do that stuff, right? There's not even math to do that stuff, right? Yeah, humans become chunky meat salsa pipeline. You know what I mean? We just become goo. Like you're gonna accelerate yourself to the speed of light and just die instantly. Yeah, give me some flex tape. Smack some flex tape on that bad boy.
Sam_I shaving fun 375. If a weens were 5 times smarter, they might see us as quaint creatures, maybe even cute pets. Chuckles quite a thought, huh?
Wait, why are you talking in Owo or Uwu speak? Noodles, have you been like poisoned by Uwu speak? Why are we speaking in Uwu still? Why are you still doing that? We go faster than light and become cats. Isn't that what happens in like that one novel, Hitchhiker's Guide? Or is it Spaceballs? What is it in Spaceballs when they go faster than the speed of light or whatever? Right? Like, sir, we've gone purple. Or whatever. They're just like, yes, sir, we've gone purple. We've gone plaid, that's it.
Just throw a pillow on the front of the ship and it'll cushion the blow, obviously.
Yeah, if you just get like a good airbag, you'll be fine. It's hitchhikers, they turn into mice. Yeah. There's some theories on how plasma shielding could work, but it's serious sci-fi stuff, like hard light and stuff. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense. And so, like, I guess my perspective on that is like, if there were aliens that were able to travel here and like be able to get here, like we can't even guess at the physics that would allow that. So like, is it really realistic to like suggest that like, oh yeah, aliens are totally traveling here, landing on Earth and like checking us out? Or even more ridiculous, like the whole ancient aliens theory where they're just like, oh yeah, hey bro, Nefertiti, what's up? I'm gonna teach you how to build a pyramid, check it out. So what you gotta do is get like 40 million people, and then you gotta make them all drag some rocks around or whatever. Like, that doesn't make any sense. If our laws of physics are right, that's true.
UWU, my WY brain has no OSWS stopping the UWU. Yes, no one.
No one? Have I ever gone through 5G experience in VRChat? I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about. It's too early to tell whether we'll find a way around the cosmic speed limit, but I think it's good to make speculative fiction about faster than light. Yeah, I think it's interesting and good to talk about like fiction. And like, I think a lot of our fictional ideas those are good things to be putting into the public consciousness, because it's interesting to come up with those ideas, even if it's not possible. They allow people to like come up with ideas that might allow for them. You know what I mean? It's a good idea, because if somebody's like, oh yeah, what if I made a world or a world where these things are possible? Then some scientist makes a guy who goes, wait, you know what? I might be able to do that, right? It's an interesting idea. It'd have to be like a Halo slip space thing where it's like a wormhole to another dimension, but it would require so much mathematics that's centuries away. I think, personally, that the only realistic chance of traveling to other points in space is through like manufactured wormholes, right? I think that maybe you could do that, and I think that fast radio bursts... By the way, let's talk about this. There's this thing called a fast radio burst, and this is one of my favorite evidences, personally, for existence of other life and other in the universe in general. Has anybody at Pause Up? Have you heard of fast radio burst? Hey, Cade, how's it going? Welcome in. Who needs multi-generational arc ships? Just move so you could do that too, yeah. I think fast radio bursts are probably one of my personal favorite evidences that faster than light travel might exist. Because we have no idea what they are. We have theories. Like, there's a lot of stuff about, like, maybe they're two neutron stars that are orbiting each other really fast and then, like, separate out or something like that, right? But for what it's worth, a fast radio burst is basically a radio signal where it's like an immense amount of energy. Like the amount of energy that our star puts out in like a year in like several seconds. And then they repeat a couple times maybe, and then they disappear and we never see it again in that quadrant of space, basically. And so it's this incredible amount of energy that doesn't seem centered around stars necessarily, but are generally in other solar systems or other galaxies. I don't believe we've ever detected one in our local galaxy, but there just seems to be these like, just this giant radio energy burst that's like, holy shit, it's like a supernova times 50 for like 5 seconds. And I'm like, if I was gonna put any evidence in faster than light travel, that seems to be the evidence to me. That is like, okay, well, if you were going to be able to warp space, that would seem to be the way to do it, right? There would have to be this huge amount of energy expended for a very brief amount of time that shunts you or teleports you to another part in space, right? That's, I think, the best evidence for it. And so if faster than light travel exists, and also it's important to note, we've never seen one of those in our galaxy as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong, for those of you who know about this. We've never seen a fast radio burst in the Milky Way, I believe. I believe that's true. Fact check me, please. Is somebody in chat fact check me? Which to me, also, if we think that is evidence of faster than light travel, there's probably good evidence that they're not local, right? Yeah, fact check me, please. Please fact check me. I believe I am correct. Like, what if that's what that is? What if it's What if it is like an alien species that's just like womp, 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 or whatever? But it's such an immense amount of energy. I am wrong. Okay, if I'm wrong, then it's a recent discovery, I think. We thought we knew they're aliens. Some have 4 eyes and are aquatic, and others have 3 and rodent spirals. FRB 200,428 was detected by the Stare 2 team. When was that? But I think it's interesting. And what if, like, FRBs...
Zeo Otter waves paw. When we discover aliens or they find us, I plan on PWE sending my PhD in astrophysics and make interstellar F-Wens. Let's eat fried Spidey pizza together, you.
Noodles, please. He's drunk. I'm curious where that FRB was from and like when it was. Humanoid aliens would make sense given the ease of use of tools of travel. I have theories on that as well. I have theories on convergent evolutions with it when it comes to like space traveling aliens as well. Maybe we can get into that too. Not within 10,000 kilometers as a lower bound. Like the FRBs or aliens. Am I not familiar? Yeah, you might not be familiar with the fried spider's pizza. Okay, so Noodles decided that he likes fried spider pizza, and now he like talks about that like as his favorite food. Hi, Firon, hi. Based on the physics of how signal hit the antenna. Yeah. At least, like, that's the FRB, right? Yeah. Snag Deco, welcome to the Clan Club. Thanks for swimming on by. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the follow. Your NASA's making warp speed a real thing. I mean, only if we get the technology or whatever. Yeah, was it a Timberborn stream? Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But I think FRBs are interesting because we see them so infrequently, and it's probable that alien species, maybe faster than light travel is possible. Like, think about that. But like, it requires such an immense amount of energy that you can only do it every once in a while, right? And it has to be for a big important reason or something like that. And it's like, okay, we're gonna move ourselves there, right? And then it's gonna take us like 10 years to come up with more energy or whatever. Thank frick for Sci-Hub. Did you know that I use Sci-Hub at work? I have never once paid for a paper. I just use Sci-Hub for everything. It's probably not technically how I'm supposed to do it, but whatever. Like, I technically have a budget for like reading papers or downloading papers, and I just don't use it because I'm like, I don't want to use my budget on that. It's definitely not legal, but also the academic investiture system is garbage, so frick that. Screw the entire system. Okay, the beginning of this song's a little Monka. You have a library. My company definitely has the ability to pay for papers. I just choose not to because I don't want to have to like contact HR and ask for permission. Uwu HR, can I please access this paper, Uwu? No, thank you. April, May 2020, active episode of Magnetar SGR, 1935 plus 2154. I mean, that's when it was published, right? Or what is that when the FRB was? 8th of April 2020, UTC at infinite frequency. Standard errors are reported within the last 6 figures. The dynamic spectrum of FRB is shown in figure 1. Ah. Can I please use this paper, HR? Pretty please. Yeah, I don't know. I think FRBs are really interesting. I think FRBs are one of the only evidences that we have of like potential for alien life, but also most signals that we get from space are usually explainable in terms that like don't necessarily like mean alien life. Like most of the time it's like, oh, we don't know what that is. Oh, well, it's just a magnetar. Oh, well, we don't know what that one is. Oh, turns out it's just a pulsar. Oh, well, what's that one? Oh, it's a binary solar system or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, I know there's like a one-click thing, but I don't know. I don't want to like have a budget thing. Just bothers me. Sure, drop the paper in my Telegram, sure. You attempted to make chili cheese fries with liquid cheese, but you don't have any chili to pour on top, so it just do steaks of Skyrim meat. What the hell? He's gonna say his trash can or something like that.
An underscore Amander, pondering asterisk, I'd choose the wondrous Andromeda Galloway. Explore galactic mysteries while munching on blue buys.
I hate that you've
Wiggles
become
nose.
full uwu speak this stream. Like, I don't understand where this happened or who poisoned your mind. Where you're like, this stream, I'm an uwu possum, but I hate it and I wish you would stop. Choose the wondrous Andromeda Galaxy. You gave him a corona. Why is he drunk now? Drop it in Twitch chat. It is piracy technically, so I would probably say don't do that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Is Noodles underage? Noodles has children. I'm pretty sure Noodles isn't underage. But what do you guys think? What is your guys' opinion? I'm curious. Like, I'm not wrapping up or anything like that, but like, let's talk about that. I've given you my opinion. I think that there's possibility that technology could be here, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think. I'm interested to hear what you guys have for theories or how you feel about this. Is Noodles into stuff? What do you mean by into stuff? Basically from the constellation Vulpecula. I have no idea. Most of them appear to be very distant, much greater than 10-kilometer lower limit. I agree, yeah. Like, it's like they're always so far away. It's like, well, is that where the alien species are? I don't know. An FRB associated with a galactic magnetar in archive. It's probably in Fizz archive, yeah. Your Twitch chat crashed when you said Andromeda. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what I believe. I don't think that aliens have ever existed here. I don't know what you guys think. If you guys think that aliens actually exist, if you think that aliens have landed on our planet, if you think that aliens are like abducting cows or whatever, or making crop circles. I don't know. You've been disappointed in your whole life over Tory stories of extraterrestrial being here. Yeah, and that's how I feel too, Raccoonter. I feel like the stories are interesting, the stories are fun, but they're basically all science fiction. It's hard for me to believe that like actually anything has actually landed here. You know what I mean? Best space game? Best space game, man. There's so many good ones. I don't know. I think the universe is so vast that there's no chance of being as important to be the only one in existence. Yeah, I think that's probably true too. I think it's probably true that we're not the only... we're probably not the only species of intelligent life in the universe. There's almost no chance of that being true. But I also think that it's unlikely, basically based off the limitation of whether or not we can travel through space, or whether or not they're even close enough for us to matter. Whether or not that like functionally, okay, that's the question, right? If an alien species is so far away in space that we cannot effectively communicate with them in the one lifetime of a human, right? Or we can't get there and they can't get here, then does it matter that they exist? Functionally or practically speaking, then they don't exist, right? And that's sort of my viewpoint, is like, well, if space travel at these speeds is impossible, then does it matter if they exist or not? You know? Well, we'd never be able to discover anything anyway. You don't believe that aliens in the way that we know exist and some microbial being. I think microbial life is almost certain. In fact, I will be surprised if we don't find microbial life in our own solar system, if I'm being honest. I think there's a very, very good chance that we find microbial life in our own solar system, personally. But I don't know if everybody feels that way. If aliens are here, they 100% have abducted at least 2 of every species on the planet for their grand zoo. But they wouldn't need that. They just, if you were sufficiently advanced enough, you could just synthesize their DNA, take a sample, and then you could just like make a hard light projection of it, or like a hologram or whatever, right? Like a holodeck type situation. Why would you want to like have to like take care of an actual living being? You just keep their DNA on sequence, right? 2014, about 30,000 light years away from the Milky Way, for that fast radio burst. Yeah, that's like in our local galaxy cluster, but it's not like anywhere close to us, right? Lack of detection of aliens indicates that the average duration of signal detection capable of civilization is very short. That's also true. That's like another idea, right? It's like, well, if we haven't detected anything, maybe like their species just like comes and goes so fast that you don't really detect anything. But Loam, remember that like, and I think this is an analogy that I think one scientist used, is like, how much of the space have we actually sampled for aliens? And it's like, well, if you took all the water on Earth.
VR spins around, haha, you got our emotes down. Keep the party going with those epic moves, fellow trash panda. Dabs and chuckles.
Wait, did you just dab, Noodles? Noodles is dabbing. What the hell? It would take too much work for it to try and take care of the beings human. Yeah, I agree. Can't believe Noodles. Yeah, he's kind of unhinged right now. Could you have the wing hugs? We'll get wing hugs before the end of the stream, I promise. Unless you're leaving right now, then I'll give you the wing hugs. I don't think there's any more than von Neumann probes here. Anything bigger, we'd notice. There's probably life outside Earth, even in our solar system. As far as intelligence, I don't think it's very common. I think you're basically where I'm at. I think that von Neumann probes could exist on Earth. I think that if they were golf ball size, we would never see them. It would be so difficult to detect. And once the time that we detect them, we'd be like, oh crap, there is life.
Follower O Faces donated 50 bits and said, what if an alien was genetically similar enough to us to reproduce with us, but physiologically different than us that the offspring only could suffer without dying? Cheer 50.
That's certainly possible. And in fact, I'm not sure why that isn't more of a storyline in like Star Trek, to be honest. Because that like is a thing where they like have like species that are crossbreeds with each other, but they've been isolated for so long, it would be weird that they were so genetically similar that like Klingons could mate with humans. That doesn't make any sense to me. What if the aliens look like dragons? God, I wish. God, I wish. Hang on, what was I saying up here? We receive certain types of signal that would be unexplainable, considering that the satellites are nothing but devices that reflect and transmit signals. That's also true. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty unlikely that anything has landed here. I think the fact that we just like, I don't know, how could anything like actually land here with like space being so big? I think we would notice if like all of a sudden like something just warped into space next to us and just caused like a disruption in all the gravity waves and everything like that. It would be wild. Yeah, where's my space dragon daddies at? There's an episode of TNG that establishes a lot of life was seeded by a precursor civilization, explaining the genetic similarity. But that doesn't make any sense either. Like, we would have speciated enough in like even a few thousand years that like our species would probably not be able to interbreed. It doesn't take that long to speciate enough that you wouldn't have like effective breeding partners. Just doesn't make sense. I don't know. The whole TNG lore is actually kind of nonsense, to be honest. We had an FRB in the Milky Way, but it was explained away as a magnetar. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just because something is a magnetar, like, locally, doesn't mean that we have magnetar. Like, every FRB is a magnetar, but it's possible. Who knows? Ixion, a space game that explores that with a lunaclasm. I have no idea what a lunaclasm is. Humans discover FTL travel and accidentally destroy the moon in the process. Wait, there's a book that's about that I was trying to read and I got distracted. I'm like 20% of the way through like 6 different books. ADHD moment. We haven't made a crossbreed, but we can keep trying. We definitely keep trying, yeah. You woke up to breeding partners. Hi, Techie, hi. Yeah, I've got like, I've like this far, I'm like 30% of the way through so many books, and then I just put them away and I'm like, oh yeah, I was reading that, wasn't I? It's so hard for me to like actually keep reading them. Your textures keep failing and you can't load them to play. That's unfortunate. I feel like there's more topics I wanted to talk about with regards to this. I feel like there was something else. I'm losing my mind. Do a verify using Steam settings. Let's talk about Space Dragon Daddies more. If only. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts about like aliens and stuff like that, but then they ran out of stuff to talk about with the aliens, and it just feels like, I don't know. All these like, there was this one podcast called Mysterious Universe I used to listen to a lot, where they talked about like Sasquatch and aliens and paranormal stuff and all that kind of stuff all the time. And I liked it a lot. But they just started like basically they would only talk about like drugs and mushrooms and acid and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, like I'm here for the paranormal stuff, not for the drugs. It's a little weird. They came from Cobalt mode, okay.
Volary, my
Hang on, let me get the
toaster
warmies
friend.
on.
It's a fun day for being extra UWU. Everyone needs a little extra cuteness in their lives, right? Wiggles nose.
Let's make a pod. Okay, Noodles. Let's make a podcast where we talk about Dragon Daddies. That's like all I want in life. Where's my podcast about space Dragon Daddies? If it came that way from space entering the atmosphere without hitting any of the half dozen satellites that we have out there, just floating out there that did not burn up in space to breed or trash there, theoretically, it would still produce a noticeable signature of radiation. Yeah, I mean, like, I have a hard time believing that any alien ship could just warp in anywhere near us, like within the next 1,000 light years, and we wouldn't notice it. I feel like we would notice that much energy being moved around, right? Like, it's not like you could just like warp travel and leave no signal or no trace of it, right? Like, that's literally thermodynamics, right? Like, where does all that energy go? You got to do something with it. Hey, Slushy, hi. What's up? Have you seen Chill Illuminati? They talk about weird conspiracy theories that aren't overly political. All I'm asking for is a paranormal podcast that's not about like weird politics or like drugs. That's all I want, bro. That's all I want. Do I have any weird scaly stories? What do you mean by weird scaly stories? I wouldn't call my scaly stories weird. I would call them not suitable for stream. Oh, scary stories. Scary stories. I'm not really like a scary story kind of person. Like scary true stories? Like what, in like real life? I could tell you like okay, the weirdest thing that's probably just raccoons is like, or rats or something like that, probably what happened. I was very freaked out this one time. I can explain.
Let me put my love probe in your heart butt.
Oh, God. Aces, thank you for the 25 months in the Clam Club VIP lounge. Welcome back to the Clam Club VIP lounge where the Wi-Fi's always clean. I'm too dragon-brained. It's true, it's true. I can't stop. I've got one brain cell and it's tuned to hot dragons. That's all I got. True cobalt brain. Okay, so there's this one time when I was a kid, and I told you I'm like obsessed with stories like this, right? I'm obsessed with ghost stories and like weird paranormal stuff. So I'm like always thinking about that stuff. I'm always thinking about whether or not like ghosts actually exist. or aliens are gonna come abduct me or whatever. I used to freak myself out a lot as a kid, thinking that like aliens were definitely gonna abduct me in my sleep or whatever. There was a time when I was a teenager and I hung out with my friend a lot. Like I would go out out of the house and I would just like frick off, and I'd spend the night with them a lot and all that kind of stuff. But this one night I was home alone in my house. I had my room. I have my brothers and my parents or whatever, and my room was in the basement, and I slept alone, and my brothers and my parents all slept upstairs. So I was alone downstairs, and I was just super paranoid one night, and I was laying in bed trying to sleep, and then I swear to God, I thought in my head, I don't know if maybe I did hear this, I don't know. I thought I heard scratching at like my little basement window. Like I actually thought like it was like, oh, scratch, 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 scratch. And I was like, what the hell? And I opened my eyes and I looked at the window and I thought I saw a shadow move across the window. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And I freaked myself out so bad. And then I was like, just like under my blankets being like, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? I was so scared. And then I swear to God, I thought I heard these skittering noises in the roof above my room. Like it had gotten into the house and was like skittering across the room above me. And I freaked out. I was losing it. I did not sleep at all that night. But there's like probably it was just a mouse or whatever, like inside the house or something like that, right? On top of that, especially if it's a rotating device or something, the ability to lift like a softer. I'm trying to read this one here. Hang on. Rotated speeds, which you'd never really. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think these things would be able to release a certain amount of energy and we detect them. Yeah, I agree. Galaxy Wolf, for sure. Go to bed. Have a good night. Thanks for coming by. See you later. That's just your other mother trying to get into my room to steal my eyes. It's like a ghost, like, haunting me. It's a poltergeist, bro. You'd have freaky paranormal experiences when you were in college if that's a different topic. I mean, I'm curious about your paranormal experiences. Tell me. I want to hear them. These things freak me out, but I love them. I want to hear all of your creepy... Like, have any of you been abducted by aliens? Speaking of aliens or whatever, have any of you guys seen a UFO? Do you guys feel like you've seen a UFO or an alien or any evidence of that? Yeah, make Noodles read your story.
When I was about 9 or 10, my childhood friend Josh and I found a very big fishing hole behind our neighborhood.
Okay.
We'd been playing a lot of RPG games, so we were big on the idea of adventures and made everything a game.
That makes sense.
We found his dad's old fishing rods and had started to untangle all the lines and set everything up.
Mm-hmm.
We sat really close to the water because the South Carolina has hot summers and it was refreshing.
That makes sense.
The top layer of the water was completely covered with moss and algae, super common.
Mm-hmm. There's too much. That's as far as you can get with the story. Super common. Can Noodles read you out? Yeah, of course it can. You can't draw and you're looking for a base, but all of the ones you can find are too chibi or too lewd. What, for VRChat?
Space
There's
Dragon
tons.
style. Adjust imaginary tie. Listen here. We're setting up a podcast in a cozy NYC jazz club, talking about them Space Dragon daddies. Sync will be chatting all about him while we're munching on some fried spider pizza.
Delicious.
And hey, I'm walking here.
What the hell is that? Hey, I'm walking here. The hell? You've never had any paranormal experiences? Have you guys ever seen like a UFO or anything like that? Your school is way old.
After a couple of casts, I was getting bored though and started to look into the scenery, and about 10 feet from us I saw a pair of eyes poking out of the fishing hole. I pulled my feet out of the water and told Josh we should leave. He said he couldn't see them and that I was being paranoid. I threatened to leave his ass while I grabbed my gear and walked away.
Oh my God.
He called me a bitch but left with me anyways. The following morning when we carpooled to school, we saw a big new warning on the NABE.
Oh no, this is getting really creepy. Basically, my school is way old and there's been tons of ghosts and stuff around it. The TLDR is that there was a building on campus that I swear is a dark energy, and one night you were walking back, a huge cold wave overtook you and your friends, but there was no air vents anywhere. Like a breath on our necks. Ooh, that's scary. Creepy. Wonder what Noodles' scariest story is. You've never seen a UFO. I'm not sure what I've seen. I look up a lot. But I think a lot of the times, like sometimes I see stuff and I'm like, I don't know. That was probably just like a bird.
He called me a bitch, but left with me anyways. The following morning when we carpooled to school, we saw a big new warning on the neighborhood sign, alligator watch active. Keep away from bodies of water. I almost threw up and Josh never questioned me again.
Oh, so it wasn't like a skinwalker inside the hole? It was like an alligator? That's still pretty scary. London, you're gonna discuss yourself because you don't believe in yourself. I sort of agree. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, did I see something or am I just making stuff up? Did I actually see a shadow cross the window or is my brain hallucinating things? You know what I mean? Your family jokes about being heralds of death and misfortune. Your grandpa predicted a girl would die in front of his house, so he forbid your mom and his sisters from leaving. Their friend died in that spot after coming over to play. What the hell? You predicted your brother getting run over while sleep talking. My cousin predicted her sister getting nose broken in her brain. There is more. That's wild. What the heck? 2 children were 8 feet away from an alligator that could have dragged you under. I mean, that's true in general.
Shivers once. I was cornered by some vicious raccoons in an alley. They wanted my stash of fried spider pizza. It was pretty terrifying.
That's horrifying, Noodles. How did you survive? I would have had a heart attack. Your boyfriend has also had paranormal experiences in the same building. That's wild. Like, it's actually like a haunted thing. When I was a kid, I was convinced that my house was haunted, right? Like I said, I have questioned myself about how much of my stuff was like my childhood brain getting away from me, or like how much of it was like actual experiences. But I was like, I swear to God, the doors in this house open and close on their own. And like, I would be like, in the middle of the night, I would like sneak out to get like some water or whatever, and I would just like see like little wispy things like through my house. I was legitimately convinced that that house was haunted. I still to this day feel like that house is haunted. Yeah, life sounds a bit rough. You'd be terrified of a stash of fried spider pizza. Fried spider pizza sounds pretty awful. A friend of yours got stalked at the park. Deadass got chased to his yard. He left after they got to his gate. His parents didn't believe him, so no police for them. He also happens to be... Oh, that's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. When you were cleaning your computer, you looked at the window and you thought you saw a skinwalker, but it was probably a deer. It could have been both. You never know. It could have been a deer skinwalker. A Shrek offender. That is ridiculous. You were living with your dad years ago when you were home alone one night and thought you heard the handle on the front door being jiggled. You're not sure if you imagined it. That's wild, right? Like, it's like, you know, I was a kid. Like, kids have imaginations. And so you sort of wonder, is like, was I imagining that or was that real? I have no idea, right? You know this song? I didn't know any of these songs would be songs that people actually know. Who's the band? Resonance by Home? I could switch to like other bands that are kind of spacey, like Flashbulb and stuff like that. You didn't try conducting a couple of tests. What time is it? Okay, we still have tons of time. When I could, like, this one thing. So across there was a house that somebody had murdered in it. There was basically a cross in the list theme, a memorial site. Anything near like a graveyard, I think is kind of wild. Like, I think those things are often like haunted, obviously, right? They're just scary to be around. Why do I keep muting my microphone like it's gonna stop you guys from hearing me burping? Skinwalkers are real? I have no idea. They could be. I like to think about it.
Follower faces, rolls eyes asterisk.
I don't think I ever did.
Sink is my owner, and despite their attempt to hide their true age, I've grown fond of them. They have great taste in pets. Smirks.
What do you mean? Also, I didn't try conducting a couple of tests. Okay, no, hang on. Other cousin predicted their sister breaking her arm in her sleep. My mom predicted it when they wrecked the quad and got pretty badly hurt. There are a ton of stories like that. I've always wondered if I have like prophetic dreams sometimes. Sometimes this is a really popular song. People need to send me more music. This is kind of a bop. I'm digging it. Sometimes I think about those like things. Go with some solar fields or carbon-based life forms. I just wonder if they're a little too chill. In this case, when you're walking home from school, you got to the house and decided to play my instrument. Same as usual on the inside of my room, which is on the bottom left of the side of a house. There's a window right next to me, so they could have been reflected the sound that would have come from the instrument. Yeah, that's possible too, yeah. You predicted the death of a stepdad in a dream. Not fun. See, I feel like sometimes... Okay. This is like part of why I sometimes like believe stuff like this is because like I feel like so many people's dreams are so prophetic. You know what I mean? Sometimes I wonder if like our dreams are our like connection to like something that we don't understand. Your mother used to insist that she saw a UFO with her friends in a car, but which she must assume was in the late 60s because she would never elaborate on it or give details because it scared her so much. It's like a scary concept, right? Hi, Scout. How's it going? Your working theory of ghosts is that since we do not know if consciousness is a property of matter or electromagnetic waves, that they are an after image of the waves of consciousness. It could be. Yeah, I don't know. There's like so much we don't know about all that stuff, right? 2 times where a Sony TV flat screen for the 2010 was turned on. You believe it was me? Both time and it did not. So like the TV's turning on by itself. That's scary. That's pretty scary too. I feel like a lot of that stuff is just like weird electronic interference or something like that though. A belief you have is that absolutely no evidence for is that the subconscious mind is free of linear time. I sort of wonder about that too. Or if like our brains are experiencing like other dimensions or possible timelines and things like that. Like you experience a dream and it's like, whoa, that's really weird. I actually have a theory about dreams that maybe you guys think will be wild, but I have an idea about it. The worst part is that they're always about loss. Not always, not always. There's always those dreams where you win the lottery and then you wake up and you didn't win the lottery. Don't forget about those. Since the brain files things away during dreams, it could be like a super connection or the amount of energy that's fired when that happens. Yeah, something like that. You recall some of your dreams once I remembered, well, because it replayed 2 more times before you woke up. I've had that happen too. That scares the crap out of me. Oh my God, when like you have the same dream and it keeps repeating and you can't wake up.
Taps paw on chin asterisk. As Earth's ambassador, I'd share our love for trash, stories about Bruno Mars, and let them taste my edible trash creations. We're irresistible.
Most of your dreams are horrifying and your brain erases them to maintain consciousness. You had a dream where I was home alone and there was something lurking outside that gave you a fear of being alone at night. I've had that fear for a while just because I have like a fear of like the unknown or whatever. But okay, I have a theory about dreams and I know we've gone off the rail as far as like aliens go or whatever. Okay, have you guys seen any of the videos that are like AI generated videos? How dare you? I want my wings. AI generated videos, right? What's freaking me out so much about AI generated videos and like AI generated plot lines or whatever, where they like generate commercials or whatever, right? There's like AI generated, like the stuff where like all the imagery, all the video, all the plot is generated by like AI, right? Like AI Will Smith eating noodles or whatever. What's messing me up about all those things is that like they are so dreamlike, right? Like so many of them are like they follow dream logic, all of these things, right? Where it's like I saw one that was like it was like a skit about like this man that was driving to work, and then he's like, well, it's time for me to go to work, and the wife is like, be careful out there and don't drink and drive, and he's like, okay, I'll do that, don't worry, honey. And then he gets in the car and he's like, who does she think she is? I can have a beer if I want to, and just starts drinking. And then like a bunch of ducks attack his car while he's drinking, and he's like, oh, what the hell? And then his car like spirals off, and then it like flies into space while the ducks are following him, and then he travels to another planet or something. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, is it like, that's exactly like what a dream would be like, right? Like you would like just teleport between different ideas with like very little consequence of anything that happened before. You know what I mean? And so in a way, I'm like, does that mean, like, does that lend credence to the idea that we live in a simulation? That like our dreams are just like the background noise or like the generative images of like the background noise of a simulation of like some sort of AI simulation of like your brain. That's what your brain is. You know what I mean? Doesn't that mess you up to think about? Like, it's freaking me out that AI generated video is so similar to like dreams. You know what I mean? Yeah, dreams are devlogs from alpha stages, exactly. AI would have Kanye instantly insanity if it gained consciousness. That's what I'm saying. Thinking is part of your brain and you're trying to describe your senses. So true.
Egret_eyes, my dear birdie FWEND, as much as I love my umbrella, a raincoat is perfect for Seattle's misty rain. Fashionable and functional. Winks.
Winks. Like a housefly has 50 eyes set and sensitive to the smell at night, it loses its eyesight. Whoa. Yeah, I guess it would, yeah. If that's the case, then it's one damn good generation considering I'm not facing through anything unless it's via holograph. But like, yeah, but like when we're awake, it's almost like, it's like when we're awake, like the CPU is like generating like more stable imagery. But when we're asleep, it's like we're like experiencing something totally wild and like not generated intentionally almost. Maybe they're only dreamlike because humans program the AI. That's also true. There could be bias there as well, right? Yeah, it's like a Backrooms moment thing. To Moist City. Humans can think, dolphins and elephants can think. I don't think my current dog is smart as the last one. I think there's like levels of consciousness through that too, right? Like I think some species are more conscious than others. Yeah, and thinking does take a lot of caloric intake. I don't know. It's something I think about a lot. Like, I guess I've had theories for dreams. Hi, Rex the Protogen. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Like, I have theories that dreams are like some way of connecting to information that we don't know. Like, it's like we've got like ideas or like things are floating out there, or like somehow like your brain is perceiving something that you can't normally perceive. Or that like, it's like, oh, it's actually evidence that we live in a simulation or something like that. And every time I think about like living in a simulation, there's like some like brain poison stuff there where it's like, oh, if we live in a simulation, then is this just my simulation? And if it's my simulation, what does that make everybody else in my world? Are they like observers in the simulation that are watching me? Does that mean that like everybody in chat, you guys are all just there like generated? Like none of you guys actually exist? It's like very weird. I don't know. Like if you're prone to existential horror stuff, that can like really mess with you, I feel like. It drives you crazy how your brains cannot pick on how illogical the things happening in your dreams are. Like, where did your part of your brain go? Yeah, I know. It's like it's just nonsense, and it doesn't restore the information at all. If the Matrix theory were real, wouldn't the devs be annoyed that the programs are reaching the ability to be able to control the program? I think they'd be curious about it, though, right? I think they'd be like, wow, that's interesting. At this point, we do not know what consciousness even is, so all it would be hard to say if dog or cat is consciousness. I think it's just like a matter of like how aware of it is. The Akashic records. Yeah, basically, yeah. You're feeling bad today? I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully you feel better. Until you said that, yeah, it's highly realistic that we, while awake and when we sleep, it's like the simulation is allowed to break. That's what I feel like. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Descartes. Yeah, I know it messes me up a little bit too. Yeah, everybody. It kind of does. Yeah, everyone's just an NPC. Just mad NPC energy. You guys are all just text on the screen that I'm like hallucinating. I'm like over here hallucinating that I'm an influencer. I'm a furry influencer because my brain wants me to be a furry influencer. Yeah, that's what's going on. The sun one is worse that they teach you in school. What sun one? If you're in a simulation, somebody needs to fire the programmers. Honestly, there are situations where I believe the same thing. Like, what's going on with that? Would I exit the simulation after discovering that it's a simulation, or after you die? I sometimes wonder about that too. Like, it's like, oh, I've always had a theory since I was a kid.
Rackhunter VR, stretch his nose asterisk, eating pizza on a skateboard is like riding a uniwheel in the center of Mars during a Blue Buoy festival.
Why are you back to being
makes sense, huh?
Why are you back to being ooh? Stop it. But like, I've always had a theory. Like, I came up with this theory when I was a kid where I'm like, what if I'm just like a person playing a video game that's like an intense VR experience, and like you play through a lifetime and then you come out of your experience and you're like, wow, that was really interesting. And that's like we're just like this other being that's like plugging ourselves into these experiences because like that's like we're immortal in that world. And so it's like the only way to gather like any amount of pleasure is that you keep plugging into these lives where you like don't know anything about that like life that you lived before. And so there's these infinite amount of lives that you could live, and that makes being an immortal being like tolerable because you get to experience death and loss and all these things without actually being mortal. I think that's an interesting concept, right? There's a of course there's a Rick and Morty episode about that. Sometimes you remember your dreams being displayed on a TV while Dream Me watches. That's wild. Where's the button to recalibrate full body tracking? Can you imagine if there was a tracking problem in real life where you're like, "Bleh," and your body just flies away? Eating pizza on a skateboard is like riding a uni-wheel in the center of Mars during a blueberry festival. It almost makes sense. What the hell? Would you switch simulations to be a derg one? Oh yeah. But like I've thought about that too. It's like, well, like for example, we're furries and we have like there's people who talk about being Therians or otherkin or whatever, right? And like, are those people that way because maybe they were a dragon in another life? Like maybe we all live in this like multiple simulations and we're all plugging into these other simulations and it's like, oh, I'm done with the human experience. I'm gonna go over here and be a dragon. I'm gonna go over there and be a fox. I'm gonna go over there and be a wolf. I'm gonna go be a human again. This one I'm gonna be a bug. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why not? If you have infinite possibilities of existence, why wouldn't you just like, just keep experiencing different existences? You know what I mean? Yeah, you can save and quit by sticking a fork in an outlet. Don't do that. Don't do that. I didn't tell you to do that. Don't do that. We're in a simulation that this is freaking cool. Good job, devs. No bugs for it. Yeah, no bugs. No bugs. Except for all the parts where we dream and aliens seem to be in a planet. That part's really weird. You sure wish a dragon was playing an MMORPG in Deep Dive. I wish. That would be so cool.
Tyroy grins. The Noodles operating system would feature auto-generated chaos, edible trash recipes, and evasion of any IRS inquiries, of course. Winks and giggles.
Yeah, crashes the game. Exactly. If not, once we find out how to change the or other science, that we broke that part of the simulation. I guess my thought is like, you know, if we are almost capable of making simulations right now, and we also made ourselves immortal beings, then like, why wouldn't we do those things? But also, you know what's messed up about that thought experiment? Is that like, if we're capable of doing that, is it possible that you could make an infinite recursion? Then if I'm an immortal being in a simulation, and we can make another simulation, and then I can put this version of me into another simulation, and then that simulation is capable of making another one, can I just infinitely recurse? That's kind of weird to think about. Yeah, most cultures, every culture, I read somebody like, there was an anthropologist that said, if you take a group of people and isolate them and you don't teach them anything and they come up with their own culture independently, every culture will come up with dragons for some reason. Like, it's like, what is the obsession with dragons?
Faces donated 50 bits and said, in all simulations, you remain a bottom tier 50. Listen.
If you sneeze and cough at the same time, that's a screenshot. What would happen if the planet says if the planet simulation we're using is destroyed? Well, presumably if we were able to do this sort of thing, I suppose we'd probably have like pods or whatever that were indestructible or whatever. Or maybe we just uploaded ourselves into computers, who knows? But yeah, I think about the multiverse and stuff like that a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're just in a big lucid dream right now. Yeah, exactly. So we're all just dragons but put into VR? Well, I mean, like, if the theory is that like every civilization for some reason comes up with theories about dragons, does that mean that like our existing personalities or are like daemons or whatever that you call, whatever you call it, are the thing that owns us, like the thing that owns our brain, whatever that is does everybody experience dragons for some reason? Hashtag otters or tops. LSD is overheating your graphics card. You get graphics artifacts. But what if that's what that was? Like, what if there was like situations where it's like you're like interrupting your signal to the server? What if aliens are just the server admins checking in on us? They're the Reddit mods. They're the Discord moderators of the universe. You know what I mean? The Discord mods. Don't you dare turn my servers off during a thunderstorm. Maybe the neckbeards are the aliens, exactly. Yeah, we have gone from paranormal to here. I mean, I sort of include this in paranormal and stuff like that because I think it's interesting to talk about with respect to aliens as well. Like, you know, there's like the theory that the reason we don't see aliens is because aliens have already uploaded themselves into a simulation, right? And they're like, why would I explore space when I could just explore whatever I want here in a simulation, right? Like, what's the point of going to space if I have everything I need here? You just build a Dyson sphere and just vibe in VR, basically. And hey, from my own experience, can confirm I spend more time in VR than I do in real life. So, you know, makes sense. Checks out to me. Zav is an alien, confirmed. I mean, we should ask. I should ask my mods if they're aliens keeping track of me. Like, if their purpose in life is to be here on Earth to make sure that I don't break the simulation. Nuclear warfare is a server reset. So is like, you know, a galactic alpha wave particle flare across our bow, or whatever they call it. Exactly. Why go to space? You can just jump in VR and be a crazy world. Like that's an actual answer to the Fermi paradox, right? Is that aliens? The reason that we don't see aliens is because they've just like, hey, space travel's really hard, but we can literally just live in a VR world that's as close to the real world as possible. So why would I bother traveling to space when we can just do holograms or hard light projections or whatever you want, right? Why would I ever live in upload my brain to a computer? Yes, but I think that would be the kind of thing where what you do is you slowly like attach a brain to your brain, like a computer to your brain, and then eventually, like, once you die, you just become the computer. I'm a big like proponent of the ship of Theseus being solved by the fact that you are slowly replacing it over time, and that makes it the same thing. All the aliens are too busy being dragons in VR.
Slushed he.
Oh shit, they know my secret. They're on to me. Aw, frick. Slushy, thank you for the 10 months of the Clam Club VIP lounge. Welcome back to the Clam Club VIP lounge. The Wi-Fi is always clean. Thank you so much, Slushy. You ate all the aliens? Spit it out. Spit it out. Put it on the ground. Spit it out. That's not food. You stop that right now. The ship of Theseus ignores the concept of maintenance. I agree. It's a little bit of like an argument in bad faith, but yeah. You'd rather go to the heavens than be inside a computer? I don't know. I don't know if heaven exists.
Hey,
maybe heaven is just another computer.
Donated 1 bit and said, Pride 144 train time?
I think you have to do more than 1 bit. I think it has to be like a significant, like it has to be another sub to do a hype train. But Tivo, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Rashek. Rashek, welcome back to the Clam Club VIP lounge. The Wi-Fi is always clean. Welcome, welcome. Like, there is a possibility of immortality, but it's for the richest. I don't think that's the case. I mean, like, probably at first it would be, but, like, I don't know. I think eventually, like, all technology gets cheaper over time, right?
M_Chaco donated 2 bits and said, cheer to 2-bit.
Man, it's wild that it's not working. I'm surprised that the hype train hasn't triggered at that point. I think it might need to be, like, a total amount
Bear King donated 43 bits and said, cheer 43.
Rich nerds uploading themselves to the blockchain. Ew, we don't stand the blockchain here today.
Space Dragon style, my wise cosmic WYRM. The dragon of Theseus theory scratches chin, is when every scale of a dragon is replaced, but it's still considered the same dragon. A philosophical conundrum.
Yeah, replace all my scales one by one. There it is. There's the hype train.
The Sofa Bear King donated 100 bits and said, cheer 100 train.
So, wait, Riri, you're the reason why Noodles keeps saying things like my wise worm friend or whatever. It's your fault. You're the reason. Now he's gonna get all poisoned again. Now he's gonna speak ooh and call everybody his, like, umbrella-loving friend or whatever. You're the catalyst. You're the problem. To answer it is basically your answer to certain metaphysical questions. And I think that's like a personal question too, like all that kind of stuff. All the kind of stuff where you're like, oh, am I me or whatever? Would I upload myself to a computer? All that stuff is like very much self-centered focused. Also, thank you for all the bits, guys. Thank you so much. I think I missed a bunch of these.
Sofa Bear King 100 bits and said,
Shaco.
Pride 100.
Thank you. Thank you, Sofa Bear. Thank you, Blarg. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for the hype train. I really appreciate that. Next time, you're going to teach them to make Don't teach Noodles to make pipe bombs. You're gonna get him arrested. He's already on the run from the IRS. He doesn't need the FBI on his ass too. What the hell? Who's my husband talking to? Wait, what the heck? Who is my husband talking to? What is going on? I keep hearing him yell. What is going on down there? Statistically, Ben. It's probably Ben. Ben probably snuck into my house again. There's a good chance. Yeah, it's probably Ben. Yeah, there's an ALMAO downstairs. The umbrella part was your idea. I know, I'm just using you as an example. He's playing League of Legends. Did you guys know that Garyu got me into Dota? This is not about aliens at this point, but Gar started making me play Dota. Maybe I should check. No, it's fine. I think he's like watching TV or something. It's fine. Get Ben's ass. Yeah, I played like 2 or 3 games of Dota. This is not about League of Legends, or not about anything really. Gar is a FOMA Dota. Yeah, it's
Otter
true.
donated 2 bits and said, cheer one. Con try BUT on. M_Chaco, oh darling, the way might be mo than 1-3 la 2 agency after me giggles nervously, but I ain't spilling the beans, UWU.
You're poisoning Noodles. Noodles is becoming more and more poisoned by the minute. What the hell? Puck told you you're married to WoW right now? That's not true. I did play like 7 hours of WoW yesterday. You were playing it when the newest patch came out. I don't know anything about Dota, but what I will say is yes, Gar used to be a Dota pro, I guess, or a competitive player or whatever. Used to play like really high tier, and they're teaching me to play Dota, and I might, maybe, if you're interested, if anybody is interested in seeing that, if you want to see me play Defense of the Ages 2, then go follow Garyu on Twitch because I might be on his stream tomorrow. Maybe. Maybe. Defense of the Ancients. Whatever, nerds. As if I know what it means. Yeah, I've played like 7 games total of the game. What do you guys expect? Okay, here's what I know about the game. Okay, here's what I know. It's in 3D. It's made by Valve, I think, maybe. I know the International's in Seattle this year. I know also that there is a hot, big lizard boy called Primal Beast, and his ult is Hip Grabber, basically, and you grab people and smash them. And that's who I play, okay? Gar played for the college team. That's kind of crazy, though, yeah. Good luck on getting disconnected from the universal Wi-Fi. Yeah, I'll try my best. Anyway, if you want to see that, definitely follow Garyu on Twitch. I'm talking to him about maybe being on their stream tomorrow for them to teach me how to play the game. If that's something you're into. Yeah, you grab him by the hips and smash, exactly. You almost made it to Grandmaster in Ogre Watch? Dude, you're a turbo nerd. What the hell? Anyway, this is neither here nor there. This is not about aliens or weird space stuff. We've only got about 30 minutes left of stream, I think. Started 2.5 hours ago. Yeah, we got about 30 minutes left to stream. Can we get a shout out for them? Yeah, if you can find a mod. But first you gotta find a mod. I don't know if there's any of those in chat. You quit competitive games entirely because you take them too seriously, yeah. Yeah, I don't really play them. Like, the only reason I'm playing with Gar is because the International is coming to Seattle. And I was thinking about going to the International, since it's like, why not? You know what I mean? If it's gonna be in town, hey, why not go see a couple games, right? Could be fun. So that's why. I asked Gar. The story goes basically is that, like, I knew Gar was a competitive player. I know they played a lot of Dota. And so I went to Gar and I was like, well, the International's in Seattle. I was wondering if you could teach me a little bit about the game so that if I want to go see a game, when I watch the game, I won't just be confused. So they were like, well, come on our stream. I'll teach you to play Dota, and we can, like, mess around with it and have some fun, and then you'll know something about the game. And so I agreed.
Sam_I shaving fun 375 sniffs curiously. Asterisk skinwalkers could be real or just folk tales. Who knows? Mysteries make life exciting, don't they?
What the hell is a folk tales? Also, Noodles thinks that skinwalkers could be real, which is terrifying. Do you guys know what a skinwalker is? Speaking of other paranormal bullcrap, do you guys know what a skinwalker is? Feoctals. Taz. Folk Taz, like the bat that streams on Twitch. It's O over Tails, or it's you know, the bat that streams on Twitch. Maybe that's what's going on. So a skinwalker, supposedly, if you really want to get freaked out, you should definitely look into skinwalkers. This is some wild stuff. So it's like, supposedly, I think it's supposed to be like a paranormal creature that is like, and I don't know the exact details or really understand it. I think it's supposed to be like the like result of like genetic manipulation or something like that. Unclear to me exactly what it's supposed to be, but it's like a paranormal creature, I think, that appears or pretends to be an animal or a human, but like doesn't behave like an animal or a human. So imagine you're in the forest and you're just hanging out in the forest, and then you watch a deer walk by on 2 legs, and they're just like, you know what I mean? I've never watched The Thing. Don't spoil The Thing for me. I've heard that movie is real scary. I want to watch it with my friend and mess my life up. Riri, if we watch The Thing together, will you hold me while I, like, cry? You won't sleep that day. That's terrifying. Basically Artie. Yeah, exactly, like Artie. Artie's a skinwalker. I have to come visit for it? I will. I'm gonna come visit. Just relax. I gotta find a good time to do it. I also have to figure out if the Victoria Ferry's still active. I have no idea. I was thinking about that though. I was like, oh well, you know, like if Puck is out of Evertown and I've got to find somebody to hang out with for the weekend, that'd be a good way to do it. Wait, the Victoria Ferry doesn't run anymore? Wait, really? How the hell do you get to Victoria then? You keep thinking about my shiny toenails and paws and dragon pee? They're pretty nice. It's down for maintenance. What the hell? But yeah, wait, is it's Tobian time? Is The Thing actually like an existential horror or like about skinwalkers or something? I'd have to go up to the mainland one. Beans. Cobalt mode. My wings, bro. Cobalt mode beans. Yeah, my shiny toenails. Beans. Beans. Stick 'em up. The Thing is very much an existential horror. Chat, what if we just stayed down here for the rest of the stream? We just vibe down here, and I like have to look up the whole time. Babe, who are you talking to? He's not answering. Must be a skinwalker. The ferry is still up. Okay, how much does it cost to go on a ferry from Seattle to Victoria? Do you guys think there's a skinwalker waiting for me downstairs? This thing is basically a sci-fi horror thing. I mean, I assume so, yeah? He was thinking about the one to the weird island that Kuga wants to go to, went to. You talking about like Bainbridge or something? Or like, or whatever? 200 bucks? That's pretty expensive. I guess I could make it work. Noodles, are you okay?
Egret_eyes, the virtual rainforest was a blast. Twirl's umbrella shared my raincoat, umbrella, and love for rain with tons of furries in that cozy drizzle. Such fun. Chuckles.
Bainbridge is a name. What do you mean? Bainbridge is an island. Yeah, isn't it the Victoria Fast Clipper or whatever? What if otters were skinwalkers? Well, they're pretty cute for being skinwalkers if that's the case. Dude, I can make my tail wag so much. Look at these wiggles. Dude, these are turbo wiggles. Look at this. Tail, 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 tail. Pew, 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 pew. If you don't mind driving, then you can go to the one in Sawsen. Okay, Riri, what part of looking at me makes you think that I know how to drive? Does this look like somebody that drives? You know how to fly? Well, not when people take my wings away from me. Just gonna move the camera up and come up a little. Everyone, okay, filling in the can't drive square on Sync's bottom bingo. I mean, it's true. I can't. I don't know how to drive. I mean, I know physically how to drive. Like, it's like not like I'm like incapable of like, I know how. I'm not like I know functionally how the driver thing works or whatever, which is how somebody that knows how to drive would talk. Everyone knows twinks can't drive. I guess you could always like just go down to the pier and find some random fisherman to drop me off. Yeah, I'll hitchhike my way to Vancouver. That seems safe. Something about biological mutation scares you? I'm sure it's supposed to, right? It's meant to. A lot of people do that, actually. What, like just hitchhike their way to Vancouver? I feel like the border would have something to say about that. Ride a self-driving taxi? I don't think so. Why drive when I could fly? I mean, if I could literally fly my way to Vancouver, I mean,
hey,
it would...
Sync, follower O Faces donated 50 bits and said, Sync, can you smoke your friend like a blunt if you're using a 3D model? Last night, Whiskey smoked Chester like a blunt while they were together in 2D Cheer 50.
What? What the hell are you talking about?
Waking up to breeding partners is living rent-free in my head.
Waking up to breeding partners. Oh, because you woke up to my voice saying breeding partners. Oh, that actually like messed with my head. I'm like, what are you talking about, Techie? Thank you for the 27 months in the Clam Club VIP Lounge. Welcome back to the Clam Club VIP Lounge. The Wi-Fi is always clean. Thank you so much. I hope you were enjoying. Wait, you're home now, right? I have to know, how were the Thor cuddles? Y'all, for those who don't know, Techie is like, I don't know if they're in a relationship, but they're definitely cuddling Thor like a lot. They held hands unprotected in public, which basically means they're dating. There's a picture of them. Bold of you to assume that the border's patrolled. I mean, like, I'm a Canadian citizen, so they can't stop me from entering the country. Yeah, I know, it's lewd, right? They're both in voice chat right now. They're both cute together. They held hands in front of Jesus in public, unprotected. Disgusting. Can you imagine? Thor cuddles were amazing. You're getting more in 3 weeks. Heck yeah. Yeah, spend enough time around me and it just like relationships just kind of happen. They did smoke each other like blunt. I don't know what kind of content they're making over there at twitch.tv/whiskey-dingo, but it makes my brain hurt. I don't know what's going on there. I literally don't even know what you mean. They literally do not check unless you're telling them that you're going into Canada. Bro, Victoria's part of Canada. What do you mean? Like, if I took the boat to Canada, then I would be going to Canada, and then I would have to tell them that I'm going to Canada because I'm at the Canadian border. Right? Am I losing my mind? Is that not how this works? I'm losing my mind, bro.
Hey Sync, follower O Faces donated 50 bits and said, Chester became small and sideways and Whiskey pretended to smoke them Cheer 50.
Okay. You have to radio it in to tell them. You mean if you like just take a boat and go over? Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean? Oh, I see. Well, I'm not gonna do that, so I'll just pay you the ferry. They feed me on the ferry anyway. you can do that with 3D models. I could, but I don't do drugs of any sort, including smoking my friends. You've never smoked the homies like a blunt before?
The Silver Bear King tilts head cudwing is when two adorable FWIENDS cuddles paws together you asterisk, get soup you close and snug and comfy together you, shawing WAWMTH in affection, UWU.
I love that he can't even pronounce his own Uwu speak. He's like, oh, it's wow, WAWMTH. You can eat on the ferry? Yeah, you can eat on the ferry. I took a ferry to Bainbridge. They had a restaurant with like bacon and eggs on it in the morning. It was like, well, we didn't eat the bacon and eggs, but it smelled really good. But the ferry to and from Vancouver has food. I know that much. There's also a ferry that you can. A shooting star just landed over there. There's also a ferry that like you can take that goes all the way to Alaska. Yeah, for sure, Snag. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the community. You hear the ferry has good food. Yeah, there's like restaurants on there. You can like actually eat at the restaurant. It's really good. That's the aliens.
Say good night to Sam.
Good night, Sam. Have a good rest of your night. Sleep well. Sleep well. See you later. Dude, I wish the aliens weren't entering. I wish the aliens were entering my world. World. New art, Tropaz, alien invasion. I mean, something like that anyway. Yeah? God, I don't know why I ever thought that laying on the ground in VR was like an adequate way to do VR. I'm on the ground, just sitting here on the ground. Am I not terrified of aliens? Yeah. It's one of my greatest fears. It scares the crap out of me. You guys saw that clip, right? Not in my beanbag. I'd have to pull my beanbag. My beanbag's over here. My big inflatable sack is right here. But I'd have to pull it out and I'm lazy. Listen, if the aliens look like dragons, then watch out. I'm gonna be the first one to volunteer to be abducted.
No.
Hey Sync, follower O Faces donated 50 bits and said, you're not supposed to eat on the bus, but people do anyway.
That's true.
One time I saw a drunk guy with a liquor bottle try to talk to a teenager about God on the bus. Cheer 50.
What? Is that equivalent things like eating and telling people about God? Underwater caves are among one of your worst fears. I feel like my worst fear is like just the unknown and aliens. If somebody can find the clip, they should post it in chat of like me getting scared of the aliens. Somebody, wait, Raccoon Tour, you had that clip. You posted that clip. I'm talking about, yeah, like you posted that clip on Twitter. Post the clip in chat. Yeah, I want to get probed by space dragons, exactly. Deep probed. The bus driver let him on. The bus driver doesn't give a crap. As long as he's not getting attacked, he doesn't give a, like, they do not care. It doesn't matter what is happening on their bus. They're just trying to do their job, man. And I get it. But yeah, there's a clip of me playing Signal Simulator where I get jump scared by an alien. And it's like this one of the scariest things I've ever experienced in a video game. I saw Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit in all that moment. I was so scared. Oh my God, I was so scared. Can I have my wings back? See how long my wings last. But yeah, we've got what? About 15 minutes left of stream-ish. 15, 20 minutes, something like that. So if you guys have anything else about aliens you want to talk about, I'd be happy to talk about it. Life, origins, planetary formation. Yeah, that's the clip. What's wrong with using umbrellas in the rain in Seattle? It's more that so the rain in Seattle doesn't go like down. It's not like raindrops. The rain in Seattle is like a mist. And so using an umbrella really doesn't do anything because the rain just, it goes sideways and you just get wet anyway. So that's why nobody uses umbrellas here. Accretion disc? You have to be more specific. Fear of the unknown is reciprocal because it's the same fear causing you to be scared. That is kind of why it messes me up, right? Like, because then I get all paranoid about it. I'm like thinking about my stuff. You guys want to see the Clam Club off in the distance? Seattle, the undampening zone. It kind of is that, yeah. Get the Clam Club up in the image. You guys can see that Wi-Fi
Hey,
back
Sync,
there.
follower O Faces donated 50 bits and said, Sync doesn't have any reason to use an umbrella. They're always wet. Cheer 50.
True. You love accretion discs, like for like Saturn's rings, but like there's nothing about like alien about that, right? Like you know, that just kind of is a thing that happens, right? Unless you think that it's like a moon that was destroyed by an alien or something like that. They're cool. I love that about space. I'm not on fire. I'm sitting next to the fire. See? I'm not in the fire. I'm just dangerously close to the fire. Don't make it weird. Imagine life evolving like in an accretion disk. That'd be pretty difficult. I'm not sure why it would, but yeah. I'm melting on the fire. It does feel like I am. It is like 1,000 degrees in Seattle today. Don't laugh at my fear. That fear it's a real fear of mine. You're so mean. Imagine what that would be like, an optimal environment for a silicone-based life form. Maybe. I guess they'd be higher heat resistance, right? That clip is so mean. Oh my god, like, I still think about that clip sometimes. It scares the crap out of me. Like, even watching that clip makes me feel uncomfortable. I talk about it in that clip, or like, you don't see the whole clip, but like, that clip, I talk about how, like, one of the scariest things that I can imagine is just like you're hanging out in your house, and then you look over at the window, and then there's just like somebody like doing this, you know? Just in the window, just looking at you. You know what I mean? How scary would that be? Just eyes. Thoughts on panspermia? So I used to actually be a panspermia proponent. I used to think there's no way that life on Earth has had enough time to evolve enough different variants that like we see of what we see in like what we actually see. I was like, it doesn't make sense. Either we were seeded here or it was intentional. But as I started thinking about it and the different theories that like probably are true about like life, I started like leaning away from it. I don't feel like it's likely. I think it's certainly possible, I suppose. Especially, I think it's possible that like maybe we'll see genetic variants or genetic similarities or similarities to the life that we see in our own solar system if we find life in our solar system, like for example on Mars or whatever. But I also think that it's likely that like, I talked about this on Nassie's stream, that life is actually the result, and I mentioned earlier that like life is the result of chemical pathways trying to preserve themselves. And so like there's like these core things that each, what the hell? My husband bought some food. It smells incredible. Holy crap, whatever that is smells amazing. But that like life is preserving these certain chemical pathways, and that each planet will have its own like sort of like chemical pathways that it's trying to preserve, and that will dictate the way that that life on that planet evolves. Because there's certain things and certain pathways on our world that like life just sort of like all follows that are very core conserved metabolic pathways, right? And it's like, you know, that's not food, that's the skinwalker, don't be fooled. So that's like my thought with life. So I don't know. I feel like life on Earth probably evolved on its own, and it was just accelerated so fast because of like the amount of free energy that we have on our planet. You know? So for those that don't know, skinwalker one of the skinwalker things is like, imagine like you're in the woods alone and then you hear like voices or somebody calling your name, right? So the theory goes is that like if you were in the woods alone at night, or it's dark at night or whatever, and you hear somebody shout your name in the woods, you didn't. Like that's what they say is like, if you're in the woods and you hear somebody scream your name, you did not hear them scream your name. Do not go find out what said your name. because it's like, that's the skinwalker thing, is that they're like calling for you and they're trying to lure you into the woods that they like, you know what I mean? That's the idea, which is a terrifying prospect, but that's the skinwalker trait. So what Loam is saying is that my skinwalker husband is luring me downstairs with food that smells amazing. Mammals are all the same exoderm. Yeah, that's true, yeah. You think it was pollinated by abiogenesis? I don't, but I think it's a reasonable theory. I don't think it's an unreasonable theory, but I do not subscribe to panspermia personally. But I think it's a reasonable thing to think. Yeah, forest sirens, kinda. Like, that's kind of the idea anyway. To steal your skin and make pork rinds. Is that what the story of The Thing is about? It's all about pork rinds? I have a hard... Wait. Hit me up. What year did The Thing come out in? You think abiogenesis sparked life here? I think everybody has their right to believe different theories. And I think as long as it's grounded in scientific fact, that like you're totally in your right to say so. 1982, I have a hard time believing that any movie...
Sync, follower O Faces donated 50 bits and said, do you think you'll get a dog or will you just invite a friend over and sew their fursuit shut? Cheer 50.
Who says I haven't already done that? Okay, I have a hard time believing that any movie before 1990 could be scary, if I'm being honest. You volunteer? Yeah? I've got a couple dog fursuits here. I could find a way to sew them shut. Who do you think has been in the Guillemon? I know who's been in the Guillemon. Me and one other person. That's basically the thing that generally most people would decide, hey, I hear my name being called out by something, I know I'm alone. Yeah, I'm going the opposite direction. Exactly. The movie Alien was not scary. I was not scared of the movie Alien. It's more reliant on environmentals, but there was a 2011 remake. Was there actually? If skinwalkers are real, then Wendigo are Wendigo real? I mean, there's a YouTuber named Wendigo. So he's real. I guess that's true. So when the comet hit, it sparked fat and acid layers to make life. Yeah, and I think that is a theory that some people do subscribe to. I don't. I think that it was probably abiogenesis just automatically on its own. I don't think there was a spark to it. I think the spark... This song is a little hard. I think the spark is probably just the excess energy in the environment in general, like just the fact that we're living in close proximity to the sun or whatever. We always had viruses. I'm not sure that that's true, but across all the Alien movies and Prometheus, you were not scared once. You just kept looking at it and being like, what? I agree. I was not scared by it. I was also not scared of Nope. Nope did not scare me either. Hey, Likeable, how's it going? Hi. Poltergeist did not scare me. You think you had viruses 900 million years ago? I mean, there's no evidence of that, but like that doesn't mean that you're not wrong. That you're wrong. I don't think viruses only came from humans. I think they're just like sort of an evolutionary byproduct of like junk DNA or whatever. Personally, I think that the way that life occurs is that when there's excess energy in a system, that the universe is finding a way to deal with that excess energy. So like if you're in a certain distance from the sun where the energy isn't like overbearing or just burning away any possible chemical pathways, but it's like a certain chemical like state. So like there's exist temperatures between like, you know, -30 up to like 200 degrees Celsius or whatever on Earth, or, you know, the volcanoes or whatever, like way hotter. I think that in any system with that much excess energy, especially when our system has like a planet that has like a core and an electronic sphere, like an electrosphere and stuff like that, I think that like any situation like that, the excess energy will detangle itself in the system by allowing certain chemical pathways to proceed through that system. And then it will have a noted, like, preservation of the pathways that, like, more rapidly transition things to a higher state of chaos or entropy, and therefore those things will group together and therefore cause life, right? So one of the ways that you can increase the rate of a reaction is by surrounding them or encapsulating them. And I think that cells were created because they encapsulate reactions, and therefore that is the reason why life spawned. Yeah, viruses are just another way for data to self-propagate. Basically grossed yourself with the abduction screen. Yeah, that was really gross. The weird vor scene in Nope was kind of creepy. You're happy you're home in your cool downstairs dungeon. I half pseudo installed an air conditioner in the office. It's like right over there, and it's not working. I gotta do better. It's just not sealed around the window enough. It's like it cools the room down like 3 degrees. Do you think we had pressure? Like, that's certainly possible. I think it's possible that we had like external pressure, like a comet hit or whatever, that like sparked certain reactions or whatever. But I don't know that life ever existed without like just sort of spontaneous stuff. But yeah, okay, guys, is there any movie that you guys think is actually scary that you think I would be scared of? I'll tell you if I watched it and if I thought it was scary. All life forms have been pressured by other life forms. That's true, yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's like I don't think, well, you know, evolution, they did an experiment that, like, in evolution is not better than random chance as far as, like, selection. So selection is sort of like a concept that actually isn't real. It's, like, fake is the theory. The Conjuring. I don't think I've seen it. Home Alone 2 did not scare me. Cocaine Bear did not scare me. Basket Case have not seen. Pretty good words, Britain, on protein creation in a vacuum. Yeah, that does happen, yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, I think it's just excess entropy trying to detangle itself. That's what life is. It is creepy, but does not scare me, I would say. I watched it and I was like, okay, that sure was a movie. Even the ketchup in the house scene? No, gore doesn't scare me. Gore doesn't freak me out. What do you mean by scary? Scary to me does not mean jump scares. Like, even jump scares tend not to really get me very often. It's pretty rare for a jump scare to really mess me up. What really messes me up is stuff that, like, makes me think differently about the world. So for example, or really messes with my specific fears. So fire in the sky messes with me. Actually, weirdly, Cloverfield really scared me for a while because I was like looking at the water being like, what if there is just a giant monster down there that could just crawl up and just destroy my city? And that really messed me up too. I've never seen the Mothman Prophecies, and I have not read Echo. But yeah, I agree with you, Riri. I think life is the result of just entropy trying to find a way to, like, wind out and equilibrium states, basically. The Mist did scare me. The Mist did scare me. The Mist was scary. Pan's Labyrinth didn't scare me, but it creeped me out a little. The Blair Witch Project did mess me up a little. Hello. Is Ben here? Oh, I just heard you talking downstairs. Why are you naked? Why are you not naked? I mean, it's your house. I guess that's fair. You don't think a movie has ever scared me more than a YouTube short film? A YouTube short film. Apollo 12? No. I don't think I've ever seen Apollo 12. The Last Drive with Joe Bob Briggs. No, I don't think I've ever heard of that. Raining ketchup in house scene? No, I don't know. The vor scene was weird in Nope, for sure. But I don't think the movie really scared me in any way. I'll say that. Why am I not naked? You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. Hang on. Nope was too goofy to be scary to you. Yeah, I thought Nope was kind of goofy. I agree. Nope felt very weird to me. It was just a weird movie. This makes it look like I have junk. I also feel weird about not wearing clothes in this model. It does feel very lewd. I agree. But it's okay. I've got a cutoff. As you can see, you can't see below my waist without this, so. It's a great way to get into Brait horror, and the guy has great rants throughout the movie. Yeah, this is not a sus stream. As you can see, we are cut off at the waistline, and therefore it is not sus. We can get rid of the wings too, hang on. There you go, no wings. Yeah, as you can see, I have no gender. You can't see my dragon fruit. Would you be able to anyway?
Not.
When you have a title like Nope, it's a very non-threatening title to go with to begin with. I would say that, like, movies that really mess with me are movies that, like, plant the idea in my head that, like, something that I interact with regularly could have, like, something lurking behind the shadows or lurking behind it that I would have never thought of.
If
That would mess me up. That's what messes me up.
I'd improve stream quality by sharing my astrophysics knowledge and hosting fried spider pizza parties. Chaotic fun.
Hi,
Giggles.
Snowy. Did Signs hit those vibes? Signs was scary for me. I think Signs was pretty scary. I don't think it's scary anymore, but the scene where the alien walks across the camera, oh my gosh, that really messed me up. That actually made me jump. I was really scared of that, yeah. Signs did mess me up. I thought that was a great movie. I really like that. Attack of the Killer Tomato? No, I don't think so. The shiny makes it looter. I guess so. Yeah, Signs was a great movie, Yeah, my horns here. If you haven't seen my horns, check these horns out. So the idea behind my horns is that they're supposed to be like black ice, and they like are cracked because of like the being exposed to the heat or whatever, right? So I'm an ice dragon, and then from the inside they're supposed to glow with like some energy, and they're supposed to look like sort of like the idea of like light coming through like an ice cavern. That's the idea of them. I'm horny? What do you mean I'm horny? That could be true on any given day. But yeah, I love my horns. My claws are the same way. I love them. Yeah, look at my horns. Don't look at the rest of me. I'm so naked. That's so true. All right, I'm putting my clothes back on. In fact, I'm putting more clothes on so that it's less sus. There's actually nothing down there. Yeah, no, there's actually nothing down there, so there's nothing sus or weird about it. I'm just like a Mickey Mouse or whatever. Today the Earth Stood Still, you probably messed up the title, or no, The Day the Earth Stood Still. I've heard of that movie, yeah. I have not watched it, but I've heard it's good. You're getting a little too into it. Did I end up ordering one? Ordering one what? Oh, the crop top? No, I haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been thinking about it, but I haven't done it yet. Like a mannequin, exactly. Hey, Kroot, what's up? Who are we gonna raid out to today? I gotta end stream shortly.
Oh dear, I so can. Clears throat
God.
musical note. Oh, you're so warm. Cuddling together in a stone. Oh, to wheels entwined with chom. Feeling cozy and warm.
So
Musical notes. O-W-O.
So stupid. Who we got here? You know, I think I know exactly who I'm gonna raid. I know exactly who I'm gonna raid when we finish here in just a second here. Mario raid CD. I think CD is playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't want to spoil that for everybody. The ending was just kind of messed up, knowing that, you know, the basic thing was happening with it. I think the Mist was like that too, right? The ending of the Mist was so messed up. Recommend watching Scare Package 1 and 2. Okay, I'm not watching any scary movies unless I have a big dragon to hold me while I'm watching it. Because I'll be scared. I don't want to be scared. I need people to make sure that they're going to keep me safe all night. Because I'm gonna get real scared, and you don't understand. When I get scared, I literally become like the babiest twink. I will be unable to sleep for the rest of that night. I will be like, forget it. It's not happening. I can't sleep. You got to keep me up all night because I'm not sleeping. Don't I have a big saber-toother? Yeah, that would matter if my husband wasn't a big scaredy cat too. Implying that I'm not the babyest twink at all hours. What the heck? Curved by the Lodestone film. But Phasmophobia doesn't really scare me, to be honest. Like, we've done Phasmo streams, and like, it's a little scary for the jump scares, but it's not too bad. But he is a scary cat. He's so scared. Like, we can't watch scary movies without him being, like, freaked out. I can watch scarier movies, but yeah. Everything was freezing over and basically enveloped everything with a patch of ice that seemed to be madly turning toward. Yeah, I think I might have watched a little bit of that movie. Now that I think about it, maybe I did watch some of that movie. I don't remember. Puck cannot comfort, and they are not daddy. Exactly. Puck isn't daddy enough to comfort me when I'm scared. Horror movies are scary for you. Would help if someone was hugging you. I agree. If somebody was keeping me safe, I would feel a little bit better about it. You spent half of Arrival convinced it was going to be a scary movie.
VR, the scariest movie I've seen shivers is called
though.
The Tax Cometh. A ghoulish IRS agent chases opossums to collect owed taxes. Terrifying.
Terrifying. God, Noodles, I'm going to have to reset you so that you stop speaking in OO. Hey, hi to Bat. Hi, you just came just in time for us to bounce out of here in just a second here, actually. Can you send me the link to the first short film? Likeable, you can literally message me about anything. You're my friend. We literally have hung out together and had dinner. You can message me about anything you want. Thank you, Bronvory. Welcome. Hi, thank you. And thank you for calling me a dragon and not a kobold. Used to be terrified of horror movies, but now I love all those Evil Dead shows. Like I said, it's hard for me to like be in watch a movie that like I think is scared. It has to be a movie that like really reframes something and makes me think like messed up. I actually think The Thing could mess me up. When I think about The Thing, that could mess me up. If it's about like skinwalkers, I think that could be like really scary. A blep? Oh yeah, hang on. I'll give you guys a blep before we end stream. Oh wait, and I'll give you guys free sniffers. As always, it does smell like gay. You still smell like gay. And then we'll get you your wing hugs. Am I making that lick noise? Do you think I'm making the lick noise? Kobodal Avatar or Durgadal, French design dragon, basically. I mean, this one's a Kobodal. I don't like the Durgadal as much. I like this one better, but I don't know. And a rudder time? We haven't had a rudder time all stream. All right, let's get you a rudder time. Lies, you smell like Axe body spray? I mean, same thing, right? Let me get closer to the camera here. For sure likable, of course, of course. Hit you with my paintbrush.
Not. Not. Not.
Sing you a furry song. Oh no, Noodles is gonna sing you a furry song.
Not.
TiVo 530 strums imaginary guitar musical note furry friends from far and wide. We get you up. Yeah, that's no lie. Tails and whiskers oh and I. Celebwate and live oh lives.
Oh no, he's
musical notes.
He's oh-ohing, dude. Oh no. All right, we gotta get you your wing hugs too. We gotta get your wing hugs before stream ends. All right, where's my camera here? Chad, I'm taking my wings back so I can wing hug you. War of the Worlds seems like it's an amazing book and you can't remember some of it. True. All right, wing huggies. You know how it is. Stretch the wingies out real wide, and bring it in for the huggies. Oh, you were inside my nose for a little bit. Don't get inside my mouth, Chad. It's dangerous in there. Okay, I know who we're rating today. Hang on.
Not.
Dude, this song sounds like a banger. What is this? This song sounds like an absolute banger. Hang on. Let it cook.
Thanks for the hug sync. You know me so well. Love ya man scrummy 1 hearts.
Oh, of course. Anytime, Flaming Gamer. Hang on. I've never heard this song, but it sounds like an absolute banger. I just want to listen to it for a second. We're going to vibe to it for just a second. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Dude, this one goes crazy already. We gotta ask Noodles for a raid message. Can you give me a raid message about a brand new otter fursuit for our streamers to spam now that the stream is ending and we're gonna raid into another community? Thanks, Noodles. Now we gotta type it into chat. This song kinda going crazy. You're allergic to affection? Deal with it. We're not raiding Canadian Dragon today. Another time.
Follower faces. Sure thing. Grins asterisk let's use. Swallowed by burritos. We raid in style. Y'all better hide those tasty burritos.
That's actually a really good message. Save that for next time, Aces, when we are gonna raid CD, and I'll use that. That's really funny. That is really funny. Burritos. We're gonna swallow all our burritos. Dude, this song goes crazy. Okay, let's see what Noodles says that our raid message is.
Of course. Let's use utterly adorable raid. Kongwats on the new otter fursuit. Time to swim into this stream. Winks have fun, everyone.
That's a good raid message. Hang on. Copy me. Copy me. He thought he said kumquats. Kumquats. Congrats. That's the raid message right here. Congrats.
Not.
That's the raid message. Thursday night furries unite. Welcome in, Shara. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the clan club. Thanks for sitting on by. Welcome. That's the raid message. Put some emotes with it if you want, or don't. It's up to you. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I had a really fun time with this topic. If you guys like the idea of us doing this sort of thing where we have a stream topic and we talk about it for a few hours, I think it's a really fun way to talk about things on Tuesdays, and it really gives us like some centered ideas. It's going to be tough for me to come up with topics, but maybe we can come up with some other topics that maybe might be interesting. So if you're interested in that, hit me up with your topics, put them in the stream Discord ideas. I really appreciate that. For now, I'm going to get going. I'm going to be playing stream games on Saturday, but I might be on Garyu's stream on Friday, tomorrow, hanging out with Gar and learning some Dota, so we'll see. Check that out. I will make a post in the Discord if that's the case, and on Twitter. So keep an eye out on the Twitter and the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, !Discord in the chat. Definitely check that out. It's one of the best places on the internet. One of the most comfy, cozy vibe Discords ever. Raccoonter, thank you.
Hey,
and
Sync.
You're a gremlin.
Raccoonter VR donated 1 bit and said, cheer 1 hoo.
Oh god, this is gonna be going on forever. We'll be back here on Saturday. I don't know if I'm gonna be playing Zelda this weekend. I think I might switch it up and play something different. Noodles, shut the hell up. Noodles, I'm trying to end stream. Shut the hell up. Noodles, I gotta go. Noodles, shut the frick up. God, how long? Okay, Noodles, shut up. Anyway, I don't know if I'm going to be playing Zelda this weekend. I think I might try something else.
Let the dogs out.
Oh, please shut up. I think I might be playing something else because we played a lot of Zelda lately, and I think I might want to get things a little bit mixed up a little bit. So I might try something else, some other starters game. I feel like the streams have been getting a little stale lately. We've been doing the same things over and over again. So I think I might try something new. I don't know what that is just yet, but keep an eye out and we'll see. And then we should be back on Sunday. I believe the stream schedule should be back to normal for Rowdy's gone. I'm feeling pretty good about myself, so I feel like we're going to have a Saturday and Sunday stream this week. So definitely check that out. But for now, I will see you guys next time. We did ask Noodles about Ferality. He said he had a great time. But yeah, poor Noodles. But yeah, stick around for the raid. You're gonna want to see this raid. I think it's gonna be a really interesting thing to see. Hopefully they can show you some pictures. This is really cute. Just to give you guys a little secret, we're raiding somebody who got a otter fursuit by the same person that made my otter fursuit, and it's, can I tell you guys something? Really, really, really cute. It might be cuter than my otter fursuit. You guys have to see it. Stick around. It's really good. Trust me. It's really good. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. We're gonna go check them out. Say hi to them. You have to see this fursuit. I've seen it already. You guys have got to see it. Trust me. Trust me. Check it out. Okay. I will see you guys on Saturday. Be good to my friend. And as always, have a good rest of your day. Bye, everybody. Bye.